You're in Konoha, and you call these ninja tools? This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151 Impure World Reincarnation. Give up the mission to save his companions. He hanged himself at home for such a ridiculous reason. Ridiculous, really ridiculous. Hatake Tsukumo crawled out of the battlefield and was a well-known figure. He has seen the hell full of corpses. How could you be so upset because of a small rumor? Tianyu explained. He didn't think his words would cause an uproar. With the name of a Konoha White Fang, the enemy leaders ordered that they could give up the mission when they met Konoha White Fang. Hatake Tsukumo's name is really big. Our Konoha Hokage is not as frightening to the enemy as he is. Tianyu said with a hint of meaning. What do you mean? Kakashi still stared at Tianyu. Don't you understand yet? Your father was so powerful that even if all the ninjas of Konoha attacked him, he might have found a way out among the bones. In the end, he hanged himself. Why do you think he hanged himself? After being pointed out by Tianyu, Kakashi understood a little. Hatake Tsukumo was a strong man who had repeatedly survived wars in the early days. He was a legendary figure who accompanied Konoha on its way to prosperity during the years of hunger. There were many cruel things in his experience. Eating people and fighting among brothers. These were very common things in the early years. In addition, he himself was a person who survived from the piles of bones and the sea of blood. How could a little rumor hit the White Fang of Konoha? Exclamation mark. How is it possible? And at that time, Hatake Tsukumo had a normal reason to save his companions. Hanged himself because of rumors? After being pointed out by Tianyu, Kakashi also thought deeply. After thinking about it, combined with what Tianyu said, Hatake Tsukumo sacrificed his life in exchange for this waste? Exclamation mark. He hanged himself because of me? Exclamation mark. Kakashi was stunned. Do you have any evidence? Kakashi's chest rose and fell very loudly, and he breathed very heavily. Evidence. Tianyu laughed again. I have talked to you to this extent, and you still need evidence to believe it. Tisk, believe it if you want to. Anyway, you, Hatake Kakashi, have already thrown away the swordsmanship that the Hatake clan is famous for. You are the famous copy ninja Kakashi. After that, Tianyu was no longer willing to say anything more to Kakashi. Orochimaru, have you had enough fighting? If you have had enough fun, call the people out. Tianyu turned around and looked at Orochimaru, who was wrestling with Sarutobi Hiruzen. Chatter, Tianyu, why are you so anxious? Behind him, Orochimaru avoided Sarutobi Hiruzen's Vajrarui stick, turned back and said to Tianyu slowly. In the fierce battle, he could still be so leisurely. This shows that Sarutobi Hiruzen is not a threat to him. The people of Konoha also discovered this. Their Hokage is no match for Orochimaru. They were a little anxious, but when they heard Tianyu say call the people out, they became even more anxious. Orochimaru and the others. There are reinforcements. All the Konoha ninjas looked left and right, guarding against the people around them, fearing that Orochimaru and Tianyu's people would suddenly rush out. Among the 12 little strong men, except Naruto, a group of people looked at Tianyu in disbelief. But they did not curse Tianyu out loud, and no one attacked Tianyu. Naruto, come to me. Tianyu shouted from a distance to the location of the 12 little strong men. Okay, Tianyu brother. Naruto nodded quickly and prepared to trot all the way over. Don't go. Naruto, don't go over there. I don't know what Tianyu is doing now, you must not go over there. Inuzuka Kiba, Akimichi Traji and other Zyokyang hurriedly called Naruto, but Naruto ran towards Tianyu without looking back. Even if everyone in this world would betray him, Naruto believed that big brother Tianyu would definitely stand by his side. Naruto. Tianyu, what are you going to do? Kakashi saw Naruto coming and couldn't help asking. Don't worry, I'm not you. Tianyu glanced at Kakashi. Although I don't have much friendship with Naruto's parents, Naruto is my younger brother. He took Naruto and touched Naruto's head. Tianyu smiled knowingly. Naruto, I will let Konoha give you justice today. Yes. Naruto nodded vigorously. Give Naruto justice? Exclamation mark. Kakashi's heart was surging. Is Tianyu going to announce Naruto's identity? Exclamation mark. Tianyu shouted to Orochimaru without turning his head, "What's the point of playing with an old man? There are bigger fish behind. Have you forgotten? Hurry up and do it." Orochimaru licked the corner of his mouth with his tongue, and there was a trace of nostalgia in his eyes when he looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen. "Okay, I'll listen to you." After that, Orochimaru made seals with both hands, and he began to perform the impure world reincarnation technique. Thump, thump, thump. One by one, wooden coffins broke out from the ground. The first wooden coffin had the word written on it. Then, the second wooden coffin also emerged, with a word on it. Seeing these two coffins, Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart pounded. Then, the third wooden coffin appeared, with a word on it. This is. Sarutobi Hiruzen's pupils shrank suddenly, and his eyes showed an incredible look. What Orochimaru was going to use turned out to be the ninjutsu! Exclamation mark. When did he learn it? Exclamation mark. However, now Sarutobi Hiruzen had no time to question Orochimaru. "Orochimaru, how dare you desecrate the remains of our ancestors?" Sarutobi Hiruzen fought with all his might, and tried to push the coffins back with his seals. At this moment, a sense of danger rose in Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart. Clang, the ice blue blade light flashed across Sarutobi Hiruzen's neck with a little chill. Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly withdrew his seals and retreated. He stared at the person who attacked him, and there seemed to be fire burning in his angry eyes. Sarutobi Hiruzen gritted his teeth and said, "Tianyu, when did you collude with Orochimaru?" "Guess." Tianyu smiled and replied, "Why did you rebel against Konoha? Why did you do such a treasonous thing?" Sarutobi Hiruzen regretted it. He didn't regret controlling Tianyu. He regretted listening to Tsunade and not doing something to Tianyu when he returned to Konoha after Tianyu completed the mission in the land of hot springs. "What do you think?" Tianyu replied calmly. Sarutobi Hiruzen clenched his fists and stared at Tianyu. He was old and Orochimaru was no match for him. He couldn't even defeat Tianyu, who had just burst out with such a powerful strength. But he hadn't given up yet. Tianyu came over. No one could stop the ninjas in Konoha, and his reinforcements were coming. Sarutobi Hiruzen held the Vajrarui staff tightly. Tianyu had grown to be extremely powerful. He had to hold on until the Konoha ninjas came to help. As if he could see what Sarutobi Hiruzen was thinking, Tianyu smiled. "Don't worry, I don't plan to kill you. If I wanted to kill you, it wouldn't be so easy for you to dodge that knife just now. You can relax a little. I won't kill you. After all, killing you is too easy for you." Chapter 152 Naruto, Come Meet Your Dad. Boom. 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 The lid of the wooden coffin fell to the ground, and the figures in the wooden coffin also appeared in front of everyone. One of them was a man with handsome black hair, wearing a red armor. Another was a man with white hair and wearing ancient blue armor. As for the last one, his blonde hair was flowing, and even in the impure world body, he looked very dull, but his golden hair was very dazzling under the sunlight. These three were the successive Hokage of Konoha. The first generation Hokage, Senju Hoshirama. The second generation Hokage, Senju Tobirama. And the civilian Hokage who died young, Namikaze Minato. Tap, tap, tap. The first generation Hokage, Senju Hoshirama, wearing dark red armor, stepped out of the wooden coffin first. He felt the chakra fluctuations of the person in front of him, and knew the identity of the aging ninja in front of him. "Long time no see, monkey." The second Hokage Senju Tobirama followed closely behind, and he suddenly realized, "Oh, it's you. You are getting old, Sarutobi." Namikaze Minato also walked out lightly, with a warm smile on his face. "I didn't expect to see you again." The third Hokage. "Oh. You are." Senju Hoshirama and Senju Tobirama turned their heads and looked at Namikaze Minato, who came later. The first Hokage, the second Hokage, "Hello." Namikaze Minato turned his head, still giving people a warm and sunny atmosphere. "It feels a bit strange to introduce myself in this situation. After all, I'm dead. I am the fourth Hokage of Konoha, Namikaze Minato." Senju Hoshirama exclaimed. "The fourth generation. It seems that Konoha has experienced a lot of things in recent years." As for Senju Tobirama, he frowned. He turned his head to look at Namikaze Minato, and then turned his head to look at Sarutobi Hiruzen. The impure world reincarnation technique is the forbidden technique he created. As the creator, he knew the technique of impure world reincarnation very well. This technique can imprint the appearance of the deceased at his peak period. The person in front of him wearing the divine robe, who was confirmed to be the fourth Hokage, was too young. A person's peak period is often in his prime, but this person is still young. In other words, this fourth Hokage died when he was young. The fourth Hokage of Konoha died at a young age, while the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was one generation earlier, was still alive and well. Judging from the state he showed, Sarutobi Hiruzen had not suffered any serious injuries. Senju Tobirama is a very smart person, and a very scheming person. Otherwise, he would not have taught a disciple like Shimura Danzo. The famous heaven-defying ninjutsu of impure world reincarnation and flying thunder god were created by him, and the idea of suppressing the Uchiha clan was also proposed by him during the political period. The fourth Hokage died, but the third was still alive and well. This small piece of information made Senju Tobirama think a lot. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen was sweating profusely. He looked at Hashirama Senju, Tobirama Senju and Minato Namikaze with caution. I never thought that I would meet you two brothers and Minato again because of this kind of thing. What a pity. Tobirama Senju immediately narrowed his eyes. He looked Sarutobi Hiruzen up and down. Brothers. Oh, is this how you call the first Hokage and the second Hokage? Exclamation mark. What's more, I am your teacher. Exclamation mark. First Hokage. Second Hokage. And the fourth Hokage Minato Namikaze. Sarutobi Hiruzen revealed the identities of the three. Immortality reincarnation. Is this the young man who summoned us with a forbidden technique? Tobirama Senju turned around and glanced at Orochimaru. He praised, amazing guy. The impure world reincarnation ninjutsu is created by Tobirama Senju and recorded in the Book of Seals. Tobirama Senju did not know Orochimaru, but he knew his origin from the fact that Orochimaru could use the impure world reincarnation. This is a ninja from Konoha, and he used to have a high status in Konoha. Otherwise, he would not have had the opportunity to touch the Book of Seals. In an instant, Senju Tobirama thought a lot. As the teacher of Shimura Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen, he is not bad. A genius from Konoha. He summoned them with forbidden techniques and fought against a current Hokage of Konoha, Sarutobi Hiruzen. In addition, the young fourth Hokage died. Konoha seems to have a problem. In this case, the first Hokage Senju Hashirama said, Sarutobi, we have to fight you. At this time, Orochimaru came from behind. Let's stop talking about old people. It's time to get down to business. As he said that, Orochimaru held 3 kune with talismans and tried to control the successive Hokage. Wait, Orochimaru. Tianyu used the instant body technique to rush to Orochimaru's side and stopped him from doing this. Tianyu-kun, what are you doing? Orochimaru stared at Tianyu, his eyes flashing with dangerous light. Tianyu is not going to turn against us at this moment, right? Exclamation mark. Tianyu smiled. Do you think you can control them? Don't forget, the second Hokage is the one who created the impure world reincarnation. Using the ninjutsu created by the original jutsu in front of the original jutsu is like showing off a big sword in front of Guangguang. Orochimaru also wants to use the impure world reincarnation jutsu to control Senju Tobirama. It's like Li Kui meeting Li Jiyui, and Li Jiyui tells Li Kui, I am Li Kui, you have to help me do things. Question mark? Let them tease the third Hokage, you have too much bad taste, Orochimaru. To defeat Sarutobi Hiruzen, Orochimaru doesn't need to go through the hands of the previous Hokage, he can just be more serious. After all, Sarutobi Hiruzen is already very old. Okay, we have to do business. After saying that, Tenai turned around and looked at the 3 Hokage summoned by the impure world reincarnation. Several Hokages, I didn't call you here to attack Konoha. Konoha. It needs to be saved now. After saying that, Tianyu turned around and shouted to Uzumaki Naruto in the distance. Naruto, come meet your real father. Hashirama Senju was confused, and the second generation Hokage Tobirama Senju was thoughtful. And Namikaze Minato raised his eyebrows after hearing the name Naruto. Naruto, is Naruto here? Namikaze Minato was a little flustered. He was going to see Naruto. In the Nine Tails Rebellion, he and Uzumaki Kushina died together, leaving only the newly born Naruto. He was summoned by the impure world reincarnation and woke up again. At this time, Naruto had grown up. What does Naruto look like now? What kind of person has he grown into? Namikaze Minato was very uneasy and wanted to know. In the midst of Namikaze Minato's uneasiness, a small figure was running towards them at a fast pace. A young man who looks very energetic, with golden hair like him. This person should be Naruto. Namake's Minato has a conclusion in his mind, but he is a little curious. Naruto, who is running towards them, seems to be a little depressed. Chapter 153 Namake's Minato, give me release. Naruto. Namake's Minato didn't have time to calm down before Naruto came to him. He had a warm smile on his face and opened his arms, wanting to embrace Naruto. However, Naruto quickly hid behind Tianyu like a frightened rabbit. The smile on Namake's Minato's face froze. His own child was actually afraid of him. Big brother Tianyu. Naruto, hiding behind Tianyu, called out in a low voice. Although he knew his life experience and knew that Namake's Minato was his father, Naruto was still a little timid in his heart. Between the father he had never met and the close brother Tianyu, Naruto was closer to Tianyu. Tianyu reached out and patted Naruto's head, and said with a helpless and doting smile, "Go, he is your father, he won't hurt you." As he said that, Tianyu pulled Naruto out from behind him and pushed Naruto towards Namake's Minato. The touching scene of the reunion of father and son that Minato Namake's imagined did not come. Facing Naruto who lacked parental care, he did not know what to say for a moment. And Naruto. He knew early on that his father was the fourth Hokage. Thinking about his own experiences over the years, he did not know how to face Minato Namake's, who was a hero. Ahem. Minato Namake's coughed twice. As the little son, he took the lead in breaking this awkward situation. The frozen smile started again. Minato Namake's, Naruto, how have you been these years? Oh, that's it. Naruto's careless answer made Minato Namake's stiff for a moment. But immediately, Minato Namake's was relieved. I'm sorry, Naruto. There was some loneliness in Minato Namake's eyes. As a father, I didn't accompany you to grow up, and Kushina didn't accompany you either. These years, it's not easy, right? Namake's Minato naturally didn't know what Naruto had experienced over the years. He just thought that Naruto was depressed because he didn't have a happy family like others. It's okay, after all, I have brother Tianyu to accompany me. Naruto lowered his head and answered. Naruto. After calling softly, Namake's Minato turned his head and nodded to Tianyu, his eyes full of gratitude. His impression of Tianyu, who teamed up with Orochimaru to summon them, has changed. What? The fourth Hokage is the father of the demon fox. How is it possible? The demon fox is still the hero of the fourth Hokage. But, the fourth Hokage said in person that he is the father of the demon fox. Fake. This fourth Hokage is fake. That was made up by the traitor Orochimaru and the traitor Ameji. How can you believe it? So you mean the demon fox is also in the same group with the traitor? Humph, he is the demon fox. I believe you if you say he is the leader of the enemy who organized the attack on Konoha. You said the fourth Hokage is fake, then what about the first Hokage and the second Hokage next to him? Behind Sarutobi Hiruzen, a group of ninjas whispered. This group of people dared to follow after seeing Ameji withdraw and Uzumaki Naruto rush to the scene peacefully. Well, not only that, when they saw the first Hokage Hashirama Senju and the second Hokage Senju Tobirama Senju present, it also gave them great courage. But they only dared to stand behind Sarutobi Hiruzen, and did not dare to approach the past Hokages. Now, Ameji and Orochimaru stood on one side, Sarutobi Hiruzen and the Konoha ninjas stood on the other side. The past Hokages who were summoned by spirits were in the middle of the two, occupying a place all to themselves. The three parties were not very far away, and the whispers of these ninjas behind Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally entered the ears of Namake's Minato. Namake's Minato, who always gave people a feeling of being bathed in spring breeze, his warmth that made people unable to help but get close to him disappeared, and the air around him seemed to be a little colder. Namake's Minato took a few deep breaths, and chakra was turbulent around his body from time to time. Third generation Hokage. Can you explain to me what happened to the demon fox? His expression was unprecedentedly unfriendly, staring at Sarutobi Hiruzen and shouting word by word. His tone was completely different from the previous respect. This was the powerful deterrent power that he, as a father, had to burst out when his child was hurt. Namake's Minato is not stupid. He is a commoner but he can become Hokage. It is not just his talent that counts. He heard it from the words of the Konoha ninja before. He is a hero who sacrificed his life for the village. He is the son of the fourth Hokage. In the eyes of Konoha, he is a monster. He is a person who is slandered by everyone. My son, Uzumaki. Uzumaki. Naruto. Why is he called a demon? Fox. Namake's Minato's emotions are getting more and more intense. The chakra flow around his body is getting more and more violent, and subconsciously people have a very dangerous feeling. Naruto also has a sense of crisis. He quickly retreated and hid behind Tianyu. Namake's Minato naturally noticed Naruto's avoidance very easily, and there was a trace of heartache in his eyes. Namake's Minato's emotions are getting more and more irritable. Even honest people, even kind-hearted people, are not blindly tolerant. They also have a bottom line. Namake's Minato is like this. Namake's Minato, who has always been gentle to others and is known as the little son, also has his bottom line that cannot be touched. He and his wife Uzumaki Kushina both died in the Nine Tails Rebellion. Their child, Naruto, is their untouchable weakness. Sarutobi Hiruzen, give me an explanation. The chakra around Minato Namake's became more and more violent, and it seemed that Minato Namake's was about to take action. Fourth Hokage, calm down first. The person who spoke was not Sarutobi Hiruzen, but Amaji. He stood up. I didn't summon you to fight. Yes. Even if we want to judge Sarutobi Hiruzen, we have to determine all his crimes first. Calm down first. After that, Tianyu stepped forward and said to the people around him, I just heard you say that you suspect that the three people summoned are not the successive Hokage who have made great contributions to Konoha. Tianyu asked first, and then he shook his head. Forget it. Immortal reincarnation is the highest forbidden technique of Konoha. It's not your fault that you don't understand it. But, at this point, Tianyu suddenly opened his eyes, then let Sarutobi Hiruzen, you tell the story. Are the three people summoned by Orochimaru using the impure world reincarnation the real first Hokage, second Hokage, and fourth Hokage of Konoha? Do you think they are real or fake? This. Not only was Sarutobi Hiruzen's forehead covered with cold sweat, but his back was also sweating profusely, and the breeze blew over with a biting chill. Chapter 154 Fox Demon. Sarutobi Hiruzen really wanted to say no. He wanted to tell the Konoha ninjas behind him that the three successive Hokage in front of him were fake, all fake. It was a conspiracy of Amaji and Orochimaru. Only in this way could he stabilize the hearts of the people in Konoha and prevent his image from being subverted. Now the attitude of the fourth Hokage Namake's Minato is already very bad. He must refuse. But, he dare not. The wise second Hokage Senju Tobirama naturally understood the truth in Konoha from these things. Even the honest and lovely first Hokage found something wrong. These two great gods are looking at him with unfriendly expressions. As a disciple of the second Hokage Senju Tobirama, even if he is not a Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen must know the ninjutsu of impure world reincarnation. How could he lie and say that they were fake when the two big guys looked unfriendly? Exclamation mark. Faced with a look that seemed to be about to rip a piece of flesh off his body, Sarutobi Hiruzen had no choice but to nod his head. He said helplessly, although the successive Hokage died, the people in front of us are indeed them. If he admitted it, Sarutobi Hiruzen would be overturned because of Naruto's incident, and his image would be subverted. But if he didn't admit it, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt that he would be taken to another world by the three successive Hokage. As soon as Sarutobi Hiruzen said this, the group of Konoha ninjas behind him exploded. It's really the first, second and fourth Hokage. It can actually summon the dead. Hiss, Orochimaru's forbidden technique is really terrible. No, didn't you get the point wrong? If the fourth Hokage is the real one, then the demon fox is the fourth Hokage's child. Not only them, but also the 12 little strong men of Konoha were dumbfounded. What? Naruto is actually the son of the fourth Hokage? Sakura was shocked. She could not imagine that Naruto, who was extremely sloppy and the last in the class, was actually the son of the handsome and heroic fourth Hokage. Such an identity can be considered quite noble. Could it be a mistake? Even if the impure world body Minato Namikaze said it himself, Sakura was a little bit unconvinced. Sasuke frowned, his expression was a little complicated. Naruto is the child of the fourth Hokage. The surrounding 12 little warriors of Konoha were also puzzled. In Konoha, except for Tianyu, they were the closest to Naruto. How was Naruto treated in Konoha? They knew it best. How could Naruto, the hero who sacrificed his life for the village and the child of the fourth Hokage, be treated so badly in Konoha? Exclamation mark. Could it be a mistake? Exclamation mark. The 12 little warriors who were very close to Naruto had this question, And the other ninjas in Konoha were even more confused. In their eyes, the demon fox was the murderer who killed the fourth Hokage and his wife. Naruto, who is the incarnation of the demon fox, was the enemy of the fourth Hokage. How could he be the fourth Hokage's child? The discussions around him made Minato Namokaze look even colder. He had said in person that Naruto was his Enkushina's child. How could the ninjas in Konoha still doubt Naruto's identity? Exclamation mark. It is conceivable how hateful Naruto was in the eyes of these people. How did Naruto, who lacked his parents, live in this village all these years? Exclamation mark. Although he had the impure world immortal body, Minato Namokaze still felt pain in his chest, as if it was about to be torn apart. He took a step forward. He wanted to have a good chat with Sarutobi Hiruzen. But Tianyu stopped him. Tianyu shook his head at him. Leave the things here to me. You don't have much time left in this world. Accompany Naruto well. Minato Namokaze looked at Tianyu deeply. Tianyu, don't worry, I will give you a satisfactory result. After that, Minato Namokaze nodded. Naruto. With a soft call, Minato Namokaze walked towards Naruto. Facing his dead father whom he had just met, and Minato Namokaze who was in a manic state before, Naruto was very flustered, and he subconsciously wanted to hide. Minato Namokaze hugged Naruto in his arms. Naruto, I'm sorry. It's all our fault. Tears slid from the corners of Minato Namokaze's eyes. You must have had a hard time alone these years. It's all the fault of your parents. I being hugged by a strange father, Naruto was a little at a loss. For a long while, Naruto didn't know what to say. Whether the demon fox is the offspring of the fourth Hokage, even though everyone saw the scene of Minato Namokaze hugging Naruto in his arms, they still talked about it. Yondaime, that's a demon fox, the murderer who killed you. Yondaime, leave the demon fox quickly, don't be bewitched by him. Some people even shouted to Minato Namokaze from a distance. Shut up. Tianyu looked around with a cold look. Can't the fourth Hokage even tell his children apart? Are you insulting the fourth Hokage's IQ, or your own IQ? You can never wake up a person who pretends to be asleep, you have to wake him up. Uzumaki Naruto is indeed the child of the fourth Hokage Minato Namokaze. Uzumaki is the surname of Naruto's mother. As for why Naruto doesn't have the surname Namokaze, you have to ask the third Hokage about this question. After saying that, Tianyu sneered. Demon fox. Huh. Is it because the war years were too long ago, or are you too stupid? Tianyu shouted angrily. Don't you know anything about the tailed beast Jinchuriki? The huge Chunin exam venue was silent. No one responded to Tianyu's question. Or rather, they didn't dare. The Jinchuriki of all generations are heroes of the village, enduring the torture of the tailed beasts and working hard for the village. Now that Naruto plays such a role, not only has he not earned a bit of your respect, but he has also been treated maliciously by you. Sure enough, this world is still too peaceful. Maybe Konoha doesn't need the power of the Nine Tails, and doesn't need the protection of the Jinchuriki. Ordinary people may not know about the Jinchuriki, but it's hard for ninjas not to know these things. The audience was still silent, and no one responded to Tianyu. Tianyu suddenly turned his head and looked at where Naruto was. Naruto, it seems that Konoha doesn't need your protection, nor does it need the protection of the Nine Tails in your body. When this matter is over, I will take you around the ninja world. Don't go back to Konoha then. In the back, Naruto in Minato Namokaze's arms heard this, and a knowing smile appeared on his face. He nodded repeatedly. Okay, brother Tianyu. Naruto naturally trusted Tianyu very much. He believed whatever Tianyu said unconditionally. Moreover, Naruto didn't know how to face the people in Konoha now, and he didn't want to stay in Konoha. No. You can't take the demon fox away. The Nine Tails is our Konoha's weapon. Chapter 155 Konoha owes Naruto. The Nine Tails is our Konoha's weapon. As soon as the words came out, the person who shouted the words felt a huge pressure. This is the pressure released by the fourth Hokage, Minato Namokaze. Although everyone praises Minato Namokaze as the warm little son, but clay people also have tempers. When he heard that his son was taken as a weapon, and not only did he not enjoy the preferential treatment as the child of a martyr, but also suffered hatred, he couldn't help but have a strong murderous look in his eyes. Don't forget, when Minato Namokaze treated those who he regarded as enemies, he was also quite straightforward and ruthless, which made the enemy terrified. Really. Shameless remarks. I have never seen such a shameless person as you. Tianyu was the first to sneer. You. If I remember correctly, you seem to be a high-ranking official in Konoha. As for your name, it doesn't have much presence, I can't remember it. Anyway, the fourth Hokage and his wife sacrificed their lives for Konoha. It's not enough. Do you want to persecute their children to sacrifice together? Tianyu asked coldly. His eyes were cold. Clang. At the same time, a nice blue cold light flashed. Tianyu used the instant body technique, suddenly appeared next to the person who spoke, and cut off the person's head with a knife. Blood spilled, and everyone was instantly shocked. Swish. Beside him, countless Konoha ninjas took out kunai and pointed at Tianyu. But they didn't dare to make a move. Even Sarutobi Hiruzen next to him was the same. Because the first, second, and fourth Hokage were present at the same time. He really didn't dare to move. Tianyu, you are so brave. How dare you commit a crime in front of all the Hokage of Konoha? In desperation, the ninja behind Sarutobi Hiruzen could only shout loudly to try to suppress Tianyu's momentum. Swish, swish, swish. Tianyu made a knife flower and shook off the blood on the blade of Hiromaru. He thought the blood was dirty. Just a pest that harms Konoha? Kill him if you want. Tianyu responded calmly. Then he walked back to his previous position slowly in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen and the Konoha ninjas standing behind Sarutobi Hiruzen. There was no intention of defense in his actions. It seemed that he had not worried that these people would attack him. Tianyu would naturally not forget such an important thing. He did it on purpose. Attack him? Even Sarutobi Hiruzen and the ninjas behind him did not have the courage to do so. When Tianyu walked back to his original position without any injury, everyone behind Sarutobi Hiruzen felt a little humiliated. Many people's faces turned the color of pig liver. How dare he? How dare he? Exclamation mark. Don't want to let Naruto go. It seems that you also know the importance of Naruto. I thought you didn't know the importance of Jinchuriki. Look at other ninja villages, how well they protect their Jinchuriki and how well they treat them. But what about Naruto? Tianyu said slowly. Other ninja villages want to hide their own tailed beast Jinchuriki. Konoha directly called Naruto a demon fox and identified Naruto as the culprit who killed the fourth Hokage. Don't you want everyone in the world to know that Naruto is the nine-tails Jinchuriki? Tianyu looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen fiercely and said mercilessly. It's not over yet. Tianyu continued to speak. In other ninja villages, their Jinchuriki have good food and drink, and have the best training resources. But what about Naruto? Not to mention that he has no resources at all, he can't even eat or drink well. Not to mention that his parents are the fourth Hokage and his wife, and heroes who sacrificed their lives for the village. Naruto could only receive the lowest survival funds for an orphan since he was a child. This meager money can't even satisfy 3 meals a day. He can only buy some food without nutrition to fill his hunger. Speaking of this, Tianyu laughed. Konoha really gave me a good understanding of the fickleness of human nature. The person who sold food to Naruto charged the normal price but used leftovers, and even worse, mixed gravel into the lunchbox. The milk sold to Naruto charged the normal price and gave Naruto expired milk. And from time to time, children, instigated by adults, deliberately threw stones at Naruto. Konoha is really a good village full of human nature and warmth. After Tianyu said this, Namake's Minato clenched his fists tightly. Although he was in the impure world body, his face was red and his veins were bulging. Namake's Minato couldn't help it. You don't do this beside him. Naruto looked at Namake's Minato like this. He was a little scared, but he still plucked up the courage to speak to the strange father, Namake's Minato. Brother Tianyu said to leave it to him. You have to believe in Brother Tianyu. When mentioning Tianyu, Naruto's face was full of positive energy. And Namake's Minato had big tears in his eyes. Naruto, you have suffered so much these years. Mom and Dad are sorry for you. Namake's Minato said with emotion. On the field, there was complete silence. No one refuted Tianyu because they were not qualified. Because Tianyu said the truth. Off the field, in the audience of the Chunin exam, countless audiences woke up one after another. After the impure world reincarnation, Tianyu made a gesture to Orochimaru, and Orochimaru asked Kabuto Yakashi to remove the illusion. In the huge audience, countless audiences bowed their heads. They were ashamed. Extremely ashamed. They didn't even have the courage to raise their heads and look at Naruto again. Among these people, many of them had never harmed Naruto, but they couldn't look at Naruto with their heads held high. Has Naruto been so hard these years? Sakura looked at Naruto in the field with a complicated expression. Sasuke gritted his teeth. His family was destroyed and he was carrying a blood feud. He thought he was the one who suffered the most. Unexpectedly, Naruto's misery was far greater than his. Naruto. Sasuke called softly. After knowing Naruto's identity, Konoha's 12 little strong men each had their own thoughts and their faces were full of excitement. Don't want Naruto to leave Konoha. Do you think the Nine Tails is Konoha's weapon, and that Naruto, as a Jinchuriki, owes Konoha? Should work for Konoha. Don't make me laugh. Tianyu continued to pursue without hesitation. Naruto has never owed Konoha. On the contrary, Konoha owes Naruto. The Nine Tails has a huge amount of chakra, and its chakra is evil. Apart from Naruto, who inherited the physique of the Uzumaki clan, is there anyone else in this world who can replace Naruto as the Nine Tails Jinchuriki? Others who want to become the Nine Tails Jinchuriki will only explode and die because they cannot withstand the Nine Tails chakra. If it weren't for Naruto using his body as a carrier, Konoha would have been unable to do anything to the Nine Tails. You will only become dust under the claws of the Nine Tails. Everyone in Konoha, including me, has to thank Naruto. It was because of him that Konoha was able to successfully seal the runaway Nine Tails. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156, The Destroyed Clan. Tianyu paused and continued. As the descendant of a hero, as the orphan of the fourth Hokage and his wife, as the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. No matter which identity he has, Naruto should be treated well by Konoha. But the fact is the opposite. There is a phrase called repaying evil with good. How? You showed me what it means to repay good with evil. Konoha, you are such a failure. Tianyu shook his head. Off the field, countless ninjas and countless civilians were silent. Tianyu's words stirred up a huge wave in everyone's hearts, but their beloved third Hokage did not refute it. Tianyu's words were more convincing, to the point where they could not doubt it. The Konoha ninjas behind Sarutobi Hiruzen were slightly disorganized. Why did the fourth Hokage seal the Nine Tails into his child? On the side, the first Hokage Senju Hashirama listened to Tianyu's speech and found a suspicious point. Except for the son of the fourth Hokage, no one in Konoha can become the Nine Tails Jinchuriki? Are you kidding? The Uzumaki clan is naturally strong. Not everyone can become the Nine Tails vessel, but it is definitely not that Naruto, a kid with half Uzumaki blood, can be the Nine Tails vessel, right? Of course, Hashirama Senju has no ill will towards Naruto and Tenmyo. He just asked out of curiosity. Hashirama Senju's wife, Mito Uzumaki, was the first Nine Tails Jinchuriki. He still has some good karma and a good impression of Naruto. Tenmyo turned around and smiled at Hashirama Senju. He said gently, the first Hokage finds it unbelievable, right? But it is the truth. After all, Naruto is not only the orphan of the fourth Hokage, but Naruto is also the last orphan of the Uzumaki clan in this world. Of course, Tenmyo, who knows the original work, knows that in addition to Naruto, the Uzumaki clan also has Uzumaki Karin and Uzumaki Nagato, who have pure blood and red hair. But in everyone's cognition, Naruto is the last bloodline of the Uzumaki clan. What? Senju Hashirama was stunned. The last orphan of the Uzumaki clan. The Uzumaki clan. The country and the clan were destroyed. He stared at Tianyu in disbelief and asked him. Of course. Tianyu nodded. We did not use the seal of the impure world reincarnation to control you. You can go to the land of whirlpools to find out whether what I said is true or false. Senju Hashirama was silent, and Senju Tobirama, who was with him, was also silent. The Uzumaki clan. In ancient times, they were distant relatives of the Senju clan. In the chaotic Warring States period, the two clans were united. At that time, the princess of the Uzumaki clan, Mito Uzumaki, married Senju Hashirama, and the two clans were more firmly united. Hearing that the Uzumaki clan was exterminated, only Naruto, an orphan who did not even have the iconic red hair of the Uzumaki clan, was left. Senju Hashirama was a little emotional. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen is old, he is not dead. Only a few decades have passed. The Uzumaki clan, A huge clan has died out in such a short time. Hashirama Senju felt a little lonely. He was thinking a lot and his heart was very complicated. But this is not over yet. Tianyu then threw 2 bombs. Not only has the Uzumaki clan been exterminated, but there are only 2 orphans left in the Uchiha clan. What? Hashirama Senju's eyes widened. Although he had disagreements with Uchiha Madara and had a battle in the Valley of the End, the relationship between the two was still very deep. Hearing that the Uchiha clan was also exterminated, he couldn't think anymore. What happened in Konoha over the years? Exclamation mark. On the side, Tobirama Senju's brows relaxed a little. It seems that this monkey has not done nothing. The Uzumaki clan was exterminated. Tobirama Senju was also depressed. But hearing that the Uchiha clan was also exterminated, Tobirama Senju just wanted to clap his hands. Since the Warring States period, Senju Tobirama has always disliked the Uchiha clan. When his elder brother Senju Hashirama proposed to jointly establish a ninja village with the Uchiha clan, he was also opposed at the time. He did not trust the Uchiha clan. But this is not over yet. I haven't finished yet. It's not just the Uchiha clan. At this point, Tianyu paused. Your Senju clan currently only has 1 orphan left. Hearing Tianyu's words, the first generation Hokage Senju Hashirama and the second generation Hokage Senju Tobirama. The 2 of them looked completely dull, as if a nuclear bomb exploded in their minds, and they stayed where they were for a long time without any reaction. The Senju clan was also exterminated? It's really ridiculous to say. Tianyu continued. The 2 tribes that were feared during the Warring States period, the 2 powerful tribes that have been through the chaos of war for hundreds of years. In the village they founded together, they both died out after Konoha developed for decades. It's incredible. Senju Tobirama woke up from his daze, and he stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen angrily. Monkey, you are such a good Hokage. A huge amount of chakra wrapped around his body, and the chakra was extremely turbulent. Senju Tobirama, he's going to clean up his master. As the second generation Hokage, Senju Tobirama is very cunning. The Uzumaki tribe was exterminated, the Uchiha tribe was exterminated, and the Senju tribe was exterminated. Well, the Uchiha tribe does not count, this was originally in his plan. But how come the Senju and Uzumaki tribes were exterminated? Exclamation mark. Since such an incredible thing has happened, it must be that the superiors of Konoha have done something big to cause the extinction of the 2 powerful tribes of Uzumaki and Senju. There was no need for Tianyu to produce evidence. The second Hokage Senju Tobirama knew that these things must have been done by Sarutobi Hiruzen. After Senju Tobirama said this, Senju Hashirama beside him also woke up from his daze. Senju Hashirama was the same, staring at Sarutobi Hiruzen fiercely, and there was also a dangerous aura on his body. Facing 2 legendary ninjas, and these 2 were really angry, Sarutobi Hiruzen was sweating profusely. He spoke quickly. It's not me, it's not me. Teacher, listen to me, Sarutobi Hiruzen said to the second Hokage Senju Tobirama in a panic. I really don't know about these things. It's all Danzo. Danzo did it without telling me. These things really have nothing to do with me. In the dark of the Chunin exam, listening to Sarutobi Hiruzen's blame-shifting speech, Shimura Danzo's head was full of black lines. This operation. Why is it so familiar? Then, Danzo reacted, and sweat beads oozed from his forehead. Damn. Sarutobi Hiruzen put all the blame on him. Chapter 157, The 3 Ninjas Gather. Danzo Shimura did participate in the genocide of the Uzumaki clan and the Senju clan. But he was definitely not the only one taking action. You know, both the Uzumaki clan and the Senju clan are extremely powerful perverts. If Danzo had only one person, he could annihilate the 2 clans. With such a great power, how could Sarutobi Hiruzen be the Hokage? Exclamation mark. And now, Sarutobi Hiruzen actually said that it was done by Danzo Shimura alone. Danzo was angry. He had always been the one to pass the blame to others, so why did he suddenly become the one to take the blame? Exclamation mark. Danzo Shimura was very upset. He wanted to stand up and expose Sarutobi Hiruzen's lies, but he didn't dare to stand up. After all, he did participate in it. Did he stand up and wait to be beaten by the first and second generations of Hokage? Exclamation mark. What should we do now? Beside him, Konan asked in a low voice. Seeing that the successive Hokage were resurrected by the impure world reincarnation, Konan also had the intention to retreat for a while. Wait a little longer. Danzo replied with a gloomy face. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen put the blame on him, Danzo said that he could take the risk again. What if the bicycle turned into a motorcycle? Exclamation mark. And his teacher Senju Tobirama was not so easy to fool. On the field, water droplets surged, and there were already water droplets flowing beside Senju Tobirama. He seemed to be using water escape ninjutsu. Little monkey, do you think your lame words can fool me? With a cold snort, Senju Tobirama showed his dissatisfaction on his face. Teacher Tobirama, I didn't fool you. This matter really has nothing to do with me. Sarutobi Hiruzen had to explain in a panic. Water escape, hard vortex water blade. In the air, a large number of water molecules gathered towards Senju Tobirama, and the huge water droplets compressed and condensed, covering Senju Tobirama's hand, forming a water spear that exuded terrifying power. The first move was Senju Tobirama's proudest level water escape ninjutsu. Senju Tobirama used his actual actions to explain what it means to start with a higher position to show respect. Sarutobi Hiruzen's legs trembled. His teacher was serious. He really wanted to attack him. Exclamation mark. The high-intensity compressed water javelin gave people a very dangerous feeling. The ninjas behind Sarutobi Hiruzen subconsciously dodged a little. On one side is the second Hokage, and on the other side is the current third Hokage. They can't afford to participate in this matter. Second Hokage, please wait a moment. When the sword was drawn, Tianyu stood up again. Please calm down first, it's not time to judge him yet. Boy, you. Senju Tobirama stared at Tianyu with a bad look. Even if Tianyu summoned him, it didn't mean that he could stop him from clearing out the scum in his master's sect. Second Grandpa, stop. A female voice sounded in the distance. A beautiful figure came with her proud two big balls. Tsunade. You're still alive. Both Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju were stunned. They were very relieved. The boy who had summoned them said that there was only one survivor of the Senju clan. There was only one person left in the huge Senju clan. They thought Tsunade had also met with misfortune. Second Grandpa, calm down and listen to Tianyu's arrangements. Tsunade strode forward and shook her head at Tobirama Senju. Then, Tobirama Senju dispersed the ninjutsu in his hand and pulled Tsunade aside. Tsunade, have you been well these years? How did Konoha become like this? Tsunade, tell us. Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju pulled Tsunade to chat. This is a long story. I am indeed the only one left in the Senju clan. Tsunade's face became more lonely. Grandpa, second Grandpa, I'll talk to you about these things later. Tsunade and Amaji are very close, and she knows that Shimura Danzo attacked Amaji on the day the Book of Seals was stolen. Before Amaji's good show began, he told Tsunade what he was going to do. When she first heard about Amaji's plan, Tsunade was a little silent, but in the end, she nodded. She supports Amaji. After pacifying the second-generation Hokage Senju Tobirama, Tsunade turned around and walked behind Amaji, standing with Orochimaru. Tsunade-sama. She's standing with Orochimaru. She's in the same group with Amaji. Behind Sarutobi Hiruzen, there were constant whispers. The old Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart sank to the bottom of the sea. Tsunade actually joined Amaji's team. Things seemed to be very bad. Tap, tap, tap. In the distance, a figure ran over in a hurry. This person had white hair and a forehead protector with the word oil on his forehead. One of the three ninjas, Jiraiya. Tsunade, wait for me. Jiraiya, who rushed to the scene, was panting heavily. Of course, it was not because of running tired, but because of the extremely depressing atmosphere at the scene. Jiraiya Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Jiraiya very seriously, calling his name. He was subconsciously putting pressure on Jiraiya. But, standing outside the three parties, Jiraiya first looked at his teacher Sarutobi Hiruzen, then looked at his apprentice, Namikaze Minato, who came out of the impure world. Finally, he looked at Naruto, Tsunade, and Orochimaru behind Tengo. Jiraiya hesitated for a second, then he gritted his teeth and said, Tsunade, why don't you wait for me? Jiraiya gritted his teeth and walked behind Tengo, to Tsunade's side. Jiraiya-sama has also passed. The three ninjas have gathered. Why do Tsunade-sama and Jiraiya-sama stand on the side of Orochimaru? The Konoha ninjas behind Sarutobi Hiruzen, the morale of the army collapsed. They began to wonder if they were on the wrong side. Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart sank. He knew he was done. Is it strange that Jiraiya is with Tsunade and Orochimaru? Hearing the discussion in his ear, Tianyu spoke again. During World War II, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru worked together to make great contributions to Konoha. Do you think you are so surprised that the three of them gathered together? Tianyu spoke, and the audience was still discussing. Jiraiya and Tsunade agreed with him. But Orochimaru, an evil person who broke the moral bottom line and conducted human experiments, how could they agree with him? I know what you think. Tianyu responded to everyone's questions calmly. But is the fact really what you think? Suddenly, Tianyu dropped another bomb. The material for the human experiment is a living person. A living person disappeared out of thin air in Konoha. Why didn't Konoha notice it at all? It took a long time for the human experiment to be exposed before anyone noticed these people who were used as material. Tianyu snorted coldly, looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen with a cold gaze. He wanted to dig out all the dark things buried in Konoha and fully expose the bloody facts. Chapter 158 Human Experiments of the Year. Don't you think it's a little strange? No matter how powerful Orochimaru is, how could he kidnap a living person without Konoha noticing it? Hiss. After Tianyu pointed this out, everyone took a breath of cold air. Some things that were originally ignored, under the guidance of Tianyu's words, they thought of some incredible ideas. You are right. Tianyu shouted to everyone. Human experiments are not only instigated by Orochimaru. Or rather, the top leaders of Konoha are the real leaders of human experiments. While speaking, Tianyu stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen. Many people followed Tianyu's gaze and also followed Sarutobi Hiruzen. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama were also among them. Sarutobi Hiruzen was furious. Why are you looking at me like this? It wasn't me who asked Orochimaru to do the human experiments. Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly denied it. I am the Hokage of Konoha, the Kage of a village. How could I possibly do such a thing? If I was in charge of this, why would I expose this matter? Would I list Orochimaru as an S-rank traitor of Konoha? Human experimentation is something that breaks the moral bottom line. If Sarutobi Hiruzen is involved in this matter, he will be infamous for thousands of years. He quickly distanced himself from this matter. Oh. Really? Tianyu spoke slowly. Orochimaru is not the only one who conducted human experiments. Do you agree with this? Tianyu said directly to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Don't tell me that Orochimaru alone can make so many residents and children in Konoha disappear without anyone noticing? He can easily get the cells of the first Hokage and use them for scientific research? There are so many experimental equipment and a huge laboratory. Can Orochimaru accomplish this by himself? Orochimaru, is a human, not a ghost. Not to mention the god of death. Under Tianyu's coercion, Sarutobi Hiruzen could only nod helplessly. Making people disappear without anyone noticing and no one around them reacted at all. Even someone as strong as the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama, couldn't do such a weird method. The theft of the cells of the first Hokage's remains in the hidden laboratory in Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen really couldn't explain it. Even if he denied that these things had a direct relationship with him, at least as the Hokage, he had a dereliction of duty in front of everyone. Since you agree that Orochimaru is not the only one who conducted human experiments in Konoha, then who is the one who conducted human experiments with Orochimaru? Tianyu's voice suddenly rose a level. It has been 14 years since the human experiments. Don't say that you haven't found anything in the past 14 years. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face suddenly turned pale, and his expression was extremely flustered. This matter the person who may cooperate with Orochimaru. He has great skills and eyes. I am incompetent. Over the years, I really haven't found any clues. Sarutobi Hiruzen said. Tianyu, in Konoha, who else can have a Hokage like you who has great skills and eyes? You haven't found any clues at all. Who are you trying to fool? Tianyu retorted mercilessly. Since you don't want to say it, then let me tell everyone. After a pause, Tianyu turned around and looked around, looking at everyone present. The truth about human experiments: it was Sarutobi Hiruzen, the current Hokage, who secretly worked with Shimura Danzo, a high-ranking official of Konoha. Orochimaru was just an experimenter hired by them. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo, the two of them are the real leaders of human experiments. As soon as Tianyu finished speaking, the whole audience was in an uproar. Orochimaru had helpers in the human experiments, and under Tianyu's guidance, they agreed. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the current Hokage, also nodded in agreement, But he said that he had not found any clues in 14 years. This was really incredible. Tianyu brought up the old matter again, letting everyone know that there was such a secret about human experiments. He said that the leaders of human experiments were their beloved Hokage and Shimura Danzo, who had been at the top for decades and performed his duties conscientiously. They could not accept this view for a while. Boy, you are talking nonsense. Sarutobi Hiruzen was anxious. He quickly said to Tianyu, looking around. Sarutobi Hiruzen faced all the people of Konoha. Please believe me, I, Sarutobi Hiruzen, have fought for Konoha all my life and have been trying to protect Konoha with my life. I will never do such a cruel thing. The hidden murderer in the human experiment. Please give me some more time. Within a year, I will give you an explanation. Sarutobi Hiruzen explained to everyone in Konoha with great emotion. 1 year. Tianyu smiled. It's so funny. You didn't have any clues in 14 years. How can you guarantee that you can find out the mastermind behind the human experiment in 1 year? Aren't your words too contradictory? Tianyu's tone suddenly became 3 points sharper. Ahem. Tianyu cleared his throat and continued to smile and said to everyone, I won't keep you in suspense. What I said before, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo are the real leaders of the human experiment, is not nonsense. I have evidence. As soon as the words came out, everyone was shocked. Tianyu's expression was calm, but he exuded full confidence. He continued, I believe many people have seen Konoha's higher-ranking official, Shimura Danzo. Half of his body is always wrapped in bandages. As long as you lift up the part of Danzo that is wrapped in bandages, you can prove what I said. That half of his body is because he transplanted the cells of the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama, in the human experiment. The reason why he wrapped himself in bandages is to hide the changes in his body after transplanting the cells of the first Hokage. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, Danzo was not on the scene. At this time, he was hiding in the dark of the Chunin exam. Naturally, everyone's eyes were once again focused on Sarutobi Hiruzen. Now the matter is very simple and clear. As long as Danzo is summoned and asked to remove the bandages, everyone in Konoha will be able to find out the truth. Sarutobi Hiruzen's clothes were completely wet, soaked by nervous sweat. Swish, swish, Sarutobi Hiruzen took action. He took off the divine robe on his body, and his old body was exposed to everyone in Konoha. I don't have anything on me that was studied in the human experiment back then. Danzo. I don't know whether he participated in this. I will ask someone to find Danzo now, and let him take off his clothes in front of everyone like me, so that everyone can have a conclusion in their hearts. Being forced to this point by Tianyu, Sarutobi Hiruzen had to sever his ties with Tianyu. He gritted his teeth and said, if Danzo really has the cells of the first Hokage in his body, it is really as Tianyu said. Even if Danzo is my good friend who is willing to die, I will risk my life to bring Danzo to justice and give Konoha an explanation. After that, a ninja behind Sarutobi Hiruzen took action. This was Sarutobi Hiruzen's confidant. He hurriedly left the Chunin exam site, and it seemed that he was ordered to go find Shimura Danzo. The people of Konoha were hanging in the air. They were waiting. Waiting for a result. Waiting for Shimura Danzo to be summoned. They want to see with their own eyes whether Danzo has the cells of the first Hokage. Chapter 159, Senju Tobirama's Rage. How did he know all this? How did he know that half of Danzo's body was transplanted with the cells of the first generation? Exclamation mark. Big, Orochimaru is what Tengoku said true. Jiraiya asked Orochimaru with hope and a little loneliness. Orochimaru and Tsunade were called the Three Ninjas. They had overcome many difficulties in the Bloody Sea during World War II. After the human experiment incident broke out, he left Konoha in the name of pursuing Orochimaru. As brothers who had experienced the war of life and death together, Jiraiya naturally didn't believe that Orochimaru would do such a thing. Now Tengoku overturned the verdict for Orochimaru. Jiraiya hoped from the bottom of his heart that what Tengoku said was true. But Tengoku said one thing that made Jiraiya hard to accept. Sarutobi, the teacher who taught them to grow up, was actually the mastermind behind the human experiment? Exclamation mark. This. Jiraiya didn't know what to do. But he was more looking forward to the answer to the human experiment than everyone in Konoha, so he asked Orochimaru out loud. Stupid Jiraiya, you haven't made any progress in all these years. I told you a long time ago, don't get so close to me. Orochimaru said with disdain. If you think it's true, it's true. If you think it's false, then you should treat it as false. So is it true or false? Jiraiya asked. Orochimaru ignored Jiraiya, and let Jiraiya struggle there. Tsunade was also silent. She was very close to Tianyu. Before the opening of this drama, Tianyu found Tsunade and told her about his plan. But Tianyu didn't mention the human experiment. Although Tsunade didn't have an obsession with Orochimaru like Jiraiya, she still had a deep relationship with Orochimaru. She naturally believed what Tianyu said, not to mention that Tianyu confidently pointed out the secret of Danzo. Tsunade had a conclusion in her heart. The leader of the human experiment turned out to be her teacher, the third-generation Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Tsunade's mood was very complicated. Although Tianyu had revealed some things to her in advance, Tsunade really didn't expect that Sarutobi Hiruzen would be so bad. Fortunately, she firmly chose to stand on Tianyu's side. Fortunately, before the big show started, Tianyu specifically asked her to persuade Jiraiya. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The fierce grinding sound came into Tsunade's ears. She turned her hand and looked at the source of the sound. Second grandfather, what's wrong with you? I am fine. Senju Tobirama, in his impure body, was furious. His forehead was bulging with veins, and his teeth were almost broken by himself. Sarutobi. Danzo very good, very good. My two apprentices are really good. Studying Big Brother's cells, they dared to harm Big Brother's body. Senju Tobirama's aura surged, and from a distance, it seemed that he could see the word warning from him. Senju Tobirama, Senju Hoshirama. Well, Tobirama also has some of the inexplicable brother complexion of the Uchiha clan. If I had known they were such people, I should have wiped out the two small clans, the Sarutobi clan and the Shimura clan, before Konoha was founded. Calm down. Second grandfather, calm down. Tsunade's messy thoughts were swept away by Senju Tobirama. She comforted her second grandfather with a smile. The second grandfather, who was always very cunning, was like a child at this time, and was mad in public. Tsunade was a little bit amused. Send someone to find Danzo. Such a big thing happened in Konoha? This is a big commotion. The whole Konoha knows that something big has happened here. Do you think Danzo knows? Tianyu teased. As a high-ranking official of Konoha, he is also your life and death friend. Since he knows that something big has happened here, do you think he, a high-ranking official of Konoha, will still stay at home and not take any action? Shimura Danzo should be here. If you want to find Danzo, you don't have to send people to his house to look for him. Danzo. Shimura Danzo. Tianyu turned to the audience seats of the Chunin exam and shouted loudly. I know you are here. Everyone in Konoha is looking forward to your appearance now. Come out quickly. Tianyu was very sure that Danzo was at the scene. Tianyu also knew that at this moment, Danzo would not appear at all. Appearing means taking off clothes at the request of everyone. If he doesn't want to take off his clothes, Sarutobi Hiruzen, the first Hokage, and the second Hokage, there are plenty of people to help him take off his clothes. So Shimura Danzo is impossible to appear. If he takes off his clothes, not only will the fact that he transplanted the first generation's cells be exposed, but his entire row of 3 Magatama Sharingan will also be exposed. Not to mention Tianyu calling him. Even if Sarutobi Hiruzen kneeled down to beg Danzo, Danzo would not appear at this moment. If he shows up, he will die without a burial place. Tisk, Danzo won't come out. I don't know if the people you sent out will bring Danzo back. Tianyu said with a hint of meaning. If you can't find Danzo, I feel like you're going to say again, I'll give you some time. Will you give Konoha an explanation? Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at Tianyu with a bad look. He heard Tianyu's mocking and sarcastic words clearly. But he had no choice. Danzo would naturally not show up. If Danzo showed up, he would die, and Sarutobi Hiruzen could hardly get rid of the suspicion of human experimentation. If Danzo showed up, he might confess and sell him out. Therefore, Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't want Danzo to show up. He naturally knew that Danzo was also at the scene. He said that sending people to find Danzo was secretly giving Danzo a signal to let him not come out. Now he really has no choice. He really intended to do as Tianyu mocked him, wait until the people he sent out come back and say that they couldn't find Danzo, then he would appease the people of Konoha and make a promise to Konoha. He would handle this matter as soon as possible and give everyone an explanation. Don't lie. His character is trustworthy, I believe him. Wait until Danzo comes, I'll make him take off his clothes and we'll know. Sarutobi Hiruzen responded. He could only delay in this way. Really? Okay, then let's not talk about this for now. Tianyu smiled, and didn't seem to be in a hurry, just responded lightly. Sarutobi Hiruzen was so dishonest, but Tianyu was not in a hurry to sentence him to death right now, because justice is in the hearts of the people, and his words just now had caused some hesitation in the hearts of the people present. As for Danzo, he will always appear. He will always convict Sarutobi Hiruzen of the crime. But not now. It doesn't matter if this matter is put aside for a while. After all, there is another very important thing waiting for Tianyu to make public. Chapter 160. How will you deal with it? Tianyu turned around, his eyes swept over the first Hokage, the second Hokage, and the fourth Hokage. It just so happens that all the previous Hokage are here. I have a question for you. Did you ever surrender without a fight and beg for peace when you were in office? Hashirama Senju, Tobirama Senju, and even Minato Namikaze frowned. What do you mean? 8 years ago, the Kumagakure ninja delegation visited Konoha and secretly kidnapped Hinata Hyuga, the heir of the Hyuga clan, in order to take away the Byakugan. The Hyuga clan was enraged, killed the enemy, and took Hinata back with great difficulty. The Kumagakure envoy was killed, and the Kumagakure side blamed Konoha. Tianyu paused. If you were in power, how would you handle this matter? Kumagakure is so arrogant. Minato Namikaze frowned. He was an active figure in the Third War. Among the previous Hokage who died, he was the Hokage who knew the situation of Konoha and Kumagakure best. It shouldn't be. The third Raikage, who was a match for 10,000 people, was killed by Inoki of the Land of Earth. How dare Kumagakure be so arrogant after losing the invincible third Raikage? Namikaze Minato frowned, and he was puzzled. The fourth Raikage was indeed brave, but in the eyes of Namikaze Minato, he was just so-so. It's not that the fourth Raikage was not strong, but that the third Raikage was too good. One man can fight against 10,000 troops. The third Raikage died after being ambushed by the ninjas of the Land of Earth and fighting against the Land of Earth's tens of thousands of troops alone. But it was not because he was defeated by the Land of Earth's 10,000 troops. He died of exhaustion. The third Raikage, who has the title of the strongest shield and the strongest spear, is the greatest confidence of Kumagakure. But the third Raikage died of exhaustion. How dare Kumagakure, which has lost its reputation, attack Konoha? Exclamation mark. Are you going to die? Exclamation mark. Namikaze Minato, who personally experienced the Third World War in the ninja world, thought a lot. What's there to be entangled about? The second generation Hokage Senju Tobirama stood up. Of course, he didn't know what Namikaze Minato was thinking. When he said domineeringly, whoever offends Konoha will be punished no matter how far away he is. Haha. Senju Hashirama chuckled and walked forward. Tobirama, you are still so impatient. Don't fight and kill all the time. Isn't it better to be more peaceful? Senju Hashirama paused and said, if I were to rule Konoha. Well, Konoha's reputation must be guaranteed. But fighting and killing is not good. Then I will catch the two-tailed and eight-tailed back, and not give the tailed beasts to Kumagakure. Senju Hashirama spoke very calmly, shocking some young ninjas in Konoha. Catch the two-tailed and eight-tailed back? Do you have to be so confident? Exclamation mark. The young ninjas don't know where the tailed beasts of the 5 major countries came from. I don't know how powerful the first Hokage of Konoha, Hashirama Senju, is. The tailed beasts were captured one by Hashirama Senju back then. At the first Ninja World Conference, Hashirama Senju saw that the strength of other countries was too low, so he enthusiastically distributed the tailed beasts to the 5 major countries. In the eyes of others, the tailed beasts are weapons of war, but in the eyes of Hashirama Senju, the tailed beasts are just toys. After all, the most powerful of the tailed beasts, the 9 tails, was suppressed by Hashirama Senju with a move of the Miyajinman. After hearing the answer of the deceased Hokage, Tianyu smiled. What a shame, what a shame. What a shame you're all gone. I'll tell you how Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, handled this matter. Faced with Kumagakure's accusation, Sarutobi Hiruzen not only did not fight back, but ordered the Hyuga clan leader, Hyuga Hayashi, to die to apologize to Kumagakure. Tianyu sighed. Fortunately, the Hyuga clan leader is a twin. If it weren't for Hyuga Hayashi of the Hyuga branch family, who volunteered to pretend to be his brother Hyuga Hayashi to take the blame, perhaps the Hyuga clan, a large clan that has been passed down since the Warring States period, will also be on the road to destruction like the Senju and Uchiha. Senju Hashirama, Senju Tobirama, and Namikaze Minato looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with complicated eyes. What Shianayu had said before made Sarutobi Hiruzen's evaluation in their hearts very low. But when Shianayu told the events of the Hyuga clan, the successive Hokage knew one thing: the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen's personality. Bottom line, there is no bottom, only lower. It's all my fault. Senju Tobirama sighed. I shouldn't have passed the position of Hokage to him back then. Even if it was passed to Danzo, it would be better than passing it to Sarutobi Hiruzen. In secret, Danzo was delighted when he heard the second Hokage say this. Is his chance here? Not taking action at the first time and not choosing to leave were indeed the right choices. Wait a little longer. Maybe there will be a chance. Shimura Danzo thought to himself. I had no choice. It's not that easy to be a Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen said anxiously. As a Hokage, there are too many factors to consider before deciding on something. I have no choice but to do this. Standing at the highest point of Konoha, I have worked diligently for Konoha for decades, and I have never complained. Even my eldest son, Sarutobi Shinosuke, died for it. I don't have any complaints at all. Konoha is my root, my home. I am sincere to Konoha. As long as I can maintain the peace of Konoha, I am willing to die. Sarutobi Hiruzen preached passionately. After he said that his son also died for Konoha, even if he was unable to turn over by the Amaji hammer, Sarutobi Hiruzen's heroic appearance also made many people feel sympathetic. War is cruel. It wasn't long after the Third Ninja World War ended, and Konoha suffered heavy losses. I really can't let the Fourth Ninja World War begin again. The Hyuga clan. I really feel sorry for the Hyuga clan. But I did it all for Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his voice again, and he portrayed him as someone who had no choice. But Shianayu mercilessly tore off his fig leaf. Are you still acting here? It's true that the Third Ninja World War just ended, and it's also true that Konoha lost a hero. But in the Third Ninja World War, Konoha wasn't the only one who suffered losses. Shianayu paused and continued. The 5 major ninja villages have all joined the war. In the Land of Lightning, the third Raikage, who was a match for 10,000 men, was killed. In the Land of Wind, the third Kazekage, who possessed a special bloodline, was killed. In the Land of Earth, all the Iwagakure ninjas including Leech, Kaguya, Oishi, Sumashi, and Higashin were killed. In the Land of Water, 4 of the 7 ninja swordsmen died, 3 escaped, and all their Anbu members were killed. In general, Konoha suffered the least losses in this war. In the Third Ninja World War, it can be said that Konoha is the winner. And after the war, Konoha demanded a lot of compensation from other ninja villages. Countless heroes won the victory with their lives and blood. In return, you want to give up one of Konoha's major fighting forces to the weaker side to kill them. How can there be such a reason in this world? Where can you find a person in power like you? Are you doing this for peace, or to persecute the Hyuga clan? Do you want to behead the clan leader who lost the Hyuga clan and destroy the leaderless Hyuga clan? Chapter 161 Confession. Of course I am for peace, for the tranquility of Konoha. I am the Hokage of Konoha, how could I persecute the Hyuga clan? Sarutobi Hiruzen's old face flushed, and he responded hoarsely. The strength of Kumagakure is strong, and it should not be underestimated. You are not the Hokage, so you naturally don't know these things, but I am indeed thinking about Konoha. How? The strength of Kumagakure is strong. Shianayu sneered disdainfully. Did he really think he was a 13-year-old child with shallow knowledge? Did he really think that he was not born during the Third War and could just say nonsense? If you say that the Third Raikage is strong, that's fine. But the Third Raikage is dead, how can the strength of Kumagakure village be strong? You Sarutobi Hiruzen paused for a while, and then he slowly spoke. The strength of a village is not only determined by the strength of the Kage. And the 4th Raikage is equally strong, not inferior to the 3rd Raikage at all. He said so. Wait. The person who spoke was not Shianayu, but the 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze. The 4th Raikage is the son of the 3rd Raikage, right? He turned to look at Shianayu. Shianayu nodded. The 4th Raikage is not as good as the 3rd Raikage. As an active figure during the Third World War, Minato Namikaze knew the inside story very well. I fought against a 4th Raikage back then, and I was fighting against a fourth Raikage and the eight-tails Jinchuriki of Kumagakure. Although they are both strong, they are far inferior to the third Raikage. During the Third World War, when Konoha vs Kumagakure, Minato Namikaze fought 1 against 2, against the fourth Raikage and the eight-tails Jinchuriki. Although there were no casualties in this battle, Minato Namikaze had the upper hands in the duel. The two joined forces, but Minato Namikaze had the upper hand. The third Raikage, who is strong and comparable to 10,000 enemies? What are you doing here? Exclamation mark. Faced with the doubts from the fourth Hokage Minato Namikaze, Hiruzen Sarutobi felt like a thorn in his throat. This. More than 10 years have passed since the Third War. The current fourth Raikage is different from the past. The current fourth Raikage is so powerful that it is beyond your imagination. Tisk. Tianyu couldn't help but sneer. Do you believe what you said? He asked Sarutobi Hiruzen. In the world of Naruto, age and time can't explain anything. Look at Kakashi, who became a Jonin at the age of 12 and is now middle-aged. He is still just a Jonin, and his strength has almost not improved. Look at Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha. When they were young, they could dominate the warring states. Is this something that age can determine? Exclamation mark. After the Battle of the Valley of the End, Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha both died. After decades, why can't anyone surpass them when they were young? Naruto is a very cruel world. It doesn't mean that you will be rewarded if you practice hard. This is a world of cheats, a world that depends on talent. This is also confirmed by the fact that Uchiha Obito awakened the main Gekyo and transformed himself from the last one to the big boss behind the scenes of the ninja world. Kakuzu, a ninja left over from the first generation of Hokage, can only become a pawn of Obito. In more than 10 years, a guy who couldn't beat Minato Namikaze even with the eight tails, can suddenly become a Raikage who is comparable to 10,000 enemies? Exclamation mark. How is this possible? Not to mention, as a time traveler, Tianyu knows that the fourth generation Raikage was easily cut off an arm by Sasuke in the Fourth Ninja World War. This is indeed possible. On the side, Minato Namikaze lowered his head and thought. More than 10 years have passed, and the ninja world has changed dramatically. Everything is possible. This is Minato Namikaze's idea. So what if this is possible? No matter how strong the other party is. Senju Tobirama said dissatisfiedly, they have no good intentions towards Konoha, not to mention that the other party attacked first. Even if we are not as good as others, we have to fight back with courage. Senju Tobirama snorted coldly, the future of Konoha is not achieved by compromise and humiliation of the village. It is fought for with our blood. Senju Tobirama's words touched the hearts of the people of Konoha. Everyone stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen with unkind eyes. Sarutobi Hiruzen's scalp numbed. This matter. He can't wash it off. In this case, Sarutobi Hiruzen gritted his teeth and saluted to Senju Tobirama. Disciple has learned the lesson. Since this matter cannot be washed away, he might as well admit his mistake and stop stubbornly holding on, which will further damage his image in the hearts of the people of Konoha. Hyuga clan. This is all my fault. I'm sorry. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned around and bowed to Hyuga Hayashi in the audience. Sarutobi Hiruzen admitted his guilt. This move stirred up a huge wave in the hearts of the people of Konoha. Humph. The Hyuga clan will not accept your courtesy. In the audience, Hyuga Hayashi snorted in dissatisfaction. Everyone. Hyuga Hayashi turned around and shouted to all the Konoha ninjas present. My Hyuga clan has joined Konoha since its establishment. Over the years, wars have continued. My Hyuga clan members have done their best. How many Hyuga clan members died on the battlefield and couldn't even bring their bodies back? As the head of the Hyuga clan, I, Hyuga Hayashi, dare to pat my chest today and say that our Hyuga clan has never let Konoha down. But what did the Hyuga clan get in return for their contributions? Hyuga Hayashi was full of anger. The Kumagakure envoys visited Konoha and secretly sent people to kidnap my daughter Hyuga Hinata. We killed the Kumagakure thieves, and found that one of them had the root of the tongue on his tongue. I reported this to Sarutobi Hiruzen that year. He promised to ask Danzo about it and inform us later. But the matter was never resolved. Not long after, Sarutobi Hiruzen came to our door. He didn't come to give us, the Hyuga clan, an explanation. But he asked me for an explanation. Kill the Kumagakure ninja. Sarutobi Hiruzen, let me give Kumagakure an explanation, forcing me, the head of the Hyuga clan, to die and apologize to Kumagakure. Sarutobi Hiruzen, you have such a cruel heart. It would be fine if you didn't count the great achievements of the Hyuga clan, and don't mention the root of the tongue seal, but we killed the enemies of Kumagakure in self-defense and took back my daughter, but you asked me to die to apologize. My younger brother, Hyuga Hisashi, committed suicide in the middle of the night and died for me. He's my dearest brother, he's a living being. Just an apology and that's it. We, the Hyuga clan, cannot accept such an apology. The old things were brought up again, and Hyuga Hayashi's eyes couldn't help but turn red, and mist gathered in Hyuga Hayashi's eyes. He turned his head and looked at Hyuga Niji behind him. I'm sorry, Niji, it's all because of me that you lost your father at a young age. Seeing Hyuga Hayashi burst into tears, Hyuga Niji's brain crashed. He couldn't understand it. Wasn't his father killed by Hyuga Hayashi? Chapter 162 There is no hope. Is Kumagakure strong? Do you think you can fool everyone in Konoha? Hyuga Hayashi said in a deep voice. He shouted to everyone. Everyone. After the 3 wars, Kumagakure had more than 10 years to recuperate. Did Konoha have the same? I swear on the honor of the head of the Hyuga clan. Kumagakure is not as strong as Sarutobi Hiruzen said, not as strong as you imagined. Sarutobi Hiruzen. He is just a coward. No, he is a conspirator, a ruthless conspirator who wants my Hyuga clan to perish. Hearing the words of Hyuga Hayashi, the first clan in Konoha, patting his chest, the ninjas in Konoha were silent. This is the head of the strongest clan in Konoha. It is hard not to believe his words. Their beloved Hokage actually did such a thing. Konoha ninjas, including the people of Konoha, were disheartened. They were completely disappointed with Sarutobi Hiruzen. Hearing Hyuga Hayashi say that more than 10 years have passed since the Third War, didn't Konoha have time to recuperate? Tianyu wanted to complain in his heart, indeed not. Other ninja villages are indeed recuperating, but Konoha. Under the leadership of Sarutobi Hiruzen, countless Konoha prodigies were harmed and Konoha's strength was reduced. However, Tianyu did not complain. Hyuga Hayashi stood on his side. How could he destroy his own stage? Exclamation mark. On the side. Sarutobi Hiruzen was disappointed. He had no way to defend the matter of Kumagakure plundering Hyuga Hinata, so he admitted the crime. But Hyuga Hayashi actually stood up and continued to scold him. Not only scolded him, but also told him that one of the members of the Kumagakure delegation had the seal of tongue eradication. The darkness in the hidden corner was completely exposed. Hyuga Hayashi he actually stood on Tianyu's side without hesitation and laid out the matter. This was something Sarutobi Hiruzen never expected. Isn't Hyuga Hayashi afraid that he will survive this disaster and settle accounts with him in the future? As the head of a large clan, how dare he stand on Tengo's side so recklessly? Exclamation mark. Ever since Hyuga Hayashi refused to accept his apology, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt something was wrong. When Hyuga Hayashi asked him, Sarutobi Hiruzen knew it. He was done. This time, there were both witnesses and evidence, and the evidence was provided by the strongest clan in Konoha. In addition, Sarutobi Hiruzen had to plead guilty before. It was over. It was completely over. There was no hope at all. Even if Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted to pass the blame to Danzo, it was too late. Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart was as cold as ice. It's been so long. Why haven't the people you sent to find Danzo come back yet? Where are they? At this time, more than 10 minutes had passed since the last time. Although the time was not long, it was enough for powerful ninjas to run all over Konoha. But Shimura Danzo had not appeared yet. Tengo, what on earth do you want to do? Sarutobi Hiruzen completely removed his disguise. He stared at Tengo with a ferocious face and asked word by word. Sarutobi Hiruzen could still find ways to refute some of the previous things about Naruto and Orochimaru. But regarding the Hyuga clan incident, Hayashi Hyuga personally testified, and Sarutobi Hiruzen could not refute it. Not to mention the various previous charges, the Hyuga clan incident alone was enough to judge him as the Hokage. In the eyes of the people of Konoha, Tianyu already had enough prestige and credibility to act as a hero and kill him, the evil Hokage. The dragon-slaying boy had obtained all the conditions to kill the evil dragon. But Tianyu did not make a move. He even mentioned Danzo. Sarutobi Hiruzen was puzzled. Tianyu completely killed him and replaced him as the new leader of Konoha. He didn't understand why Tianyu didn't take action. What? Tianyu laughed. You are really a master at pretending to be confused. The human experiment incident has not yet come to a conclusion. Everyone is waiting for Danzo to show up and reveal the truth. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face darkened. I pretend to be confused. Who is pretending to be confused? Since you want to usurp the throne, why bother to procrastinate? His evidence of guilt is enough for Tianyu to ascend the throne. But Sarutobi Hiruzen certainly didn't want Tianyu to ascend the throne so easily. Even though his guilt was enough, he still explicitly put the title of usurpation on Tianyu's head. Usurpation. Tianyu sneered. Is the position of Hokage rare? The dragon-slaying boy eventually became a dragon. Tianyu is not that kind of person. The position of Hokage, he doesn't want it at all. Tianyu said calmly, I'm sorry, I don't have any idea about the position of Hokage. You have done all these things, isn't it all for the purpose of usurping the throne? Tianyu sneered, I'm not as narrow-minded as you. I just give the fairness that is due to those who are owed. Konoha not only owes them, but also me. Tianyu looked directly at Sarutobi Hiruzen. The Book of Seals was stolen, and I went to chase the murderer. Danzo wanted to attack my family, but fortunately I arrived in time and stopped Danzo. Although I didn't shed blood for Konoha like everyone present, I did contribute to Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen, what about you? Knowing all the inside story, but doing nothing, letting Shimura Danzo do whatever he wants. Hearing Tianyu say this, even though the people of Konoha were completely disappointed with Sarutobi Hiruzen, they did not fully believe Tianyu. After all, Tianyu was the one who carried the banner of rebellion, and this was his one-sided statement. You can believe it or not. Anyway, I never thought that the dark forces of Konoha would be overthrown because of me. After a pause, Tianyu put away his frivolity, and spoke to everyone present with a serious face. Konoha has decayed. If you want to save Konoha, you have to dig out the rotten roots. Hearing Tianyu's words, Sarutobi Hiruzen regretted it. Tianyu acted like this just because of the theft of the Book of Seals, and didn't give him an explanation? Sarutobi Hiruzen regretted it very much. If he had handled the matter properly at that time, perhaps he would not have suffered such a result. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Tianyu with a complicated face. Don't look at me like that. Even if this didn't happen, you can't escape. Even if Danzo didn't sneak attack his family, even if Sarutobi Hiruzen handled it properly. But what is coming will come after all. He has a close friendship with Tsunade and regards Naruto as a younger brother, not to mention that Hinata is Tianyu's girlfriend. If this hadn't happened, Tianyu would still stand up, but his actions might be different, but the result was doomed. Where is Danzo? Shouldn't you give us an explanation? Tianyu said aggressively. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't know what Tianyu was thinking, he just shook his head and said, I don't know. Maybe Danzo is not in Konoha at this time, busy with other things. Sarutobi Hiruzen said gloomily, he knew that he was going to die, but he still said it carelessly. Although he was going to die, Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't want Tianyu to reveal more darkness. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 Killing you is too easy for you. Not in Konoha. How could Danzo Shimura not be in Konoha? Tianyu shook his head. Danzo Shimura is not only in Konoha, he is at the scene. He just doesn't dare to come out. After a pause, Tianyu continued, he not only transplanted the cells of the first generation of Hokage, but also transplanted several Uchiha clan's Sharingan! Tianyu's words set off another wave of enthusiasm. Especially Uchiha Sasuke, he looked at Tianyu in astonishment. Sharingan? What are you talking about? The Uchiha clan has long been extinct, how could Danzo have a Sharingan? Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly denied. He will die. But even if he dies, he wants him to die a little more decently. Yes, the Uchiha clan has long been extinct. Tianyu spoke seriously. Before the Uchiha clan was wiped out, the Uchiha clan was the largest clan in Konoha. One night, the young son of the clan leader quietly killed all the members of the Uchiha clan. A young man, in less than one night the huge Uchiha clan was wiped out. Such a big thing, Konoha didn't even notice it at all. This is even weirder than the human experiment incident. After saying that, Tianyu looked at Sarutobi Hirozen with a smile. All the people in Konoha looked at Tianyu. Tianyu's vague words made many people more eager to know the following topic. And Sarutobi Hirozen gnashed his teeth, obviously knowing what Tianyu was talking about. They didn't know the inside story and could only be confused. In their hearts, a thought emerged. That is, Riddler, all deserve to die. It was my fault on the night of the Uchiha clan's extermination. I really didn't notice anything unusual about the Uchiha clan. Sarutobi Hirozen insisted. Is it just my fault? Did you participate in the Uchiha clan's extermination? Tianyu teased. Sarutobi Hirozen shook his head vigorously. Of course I didn't participate. Itachi Uchiha, the murderer of the Uchiha clan's extermination, is indeed an outstanding young man. Perhaps even Madara Uchiha was not as good as him. He looked regretful. Uchiha Itachi is not here anyway. He won't stand up as a tainted witness like Hyuga Hayashi. What is he afraid of? He can say whatever he wants. In the dark, Xiaonin looked at the silent Uchiha Itachi beside her and found that there was no fluctuation on his face. She turned her head to look at Afei again. Afei noticed Xiaonin's gaze and turned his head to look at Xiaonin curiously. Xiaonin glanced at Afei, turned to Uchiha Itachi, and then looked at Sarutobi Hirozen. Xiaonin passed a message to Afei. You were named, saying that you, Uchiha Madara, are not as good as Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Obito's face was full of black lines. Really not involved? No. You are really stubborn. Tianyu smiled. I have evidence here. Tianyu clapped his hands and shouted to someone, come out. In the audience, a middle-aged man dressed in ordinary clothes stepped onto the stage slowly. With a bang, bursts of white mist dispersed, and the appearance of the middle-aged man changed drastically. A slightly mature black-haired young man who had lost his pupils appeared in front of everyone. How could it be? How could it be him? Uchiha Itachi, who was previously named by Sarutobi Hirozen, was still calm and expressionless, and his face was full of surprise. Looking at the ninja who had lost his pupils, Uchiha Itachi whispered his name, Shisu. On the field, Uchiha Shisu, who had lost his pupils, spoke. Maybe many people don't know me. My name is Uchiha Shisu, and I'm a member of the Uchiha clan. The name of Shunshin Shisu is not small, but after the cleansing of time, Shisu's appearance has changed slightly, and he introduced himself to everyone. The truth about the extermination of the Uchiha clan. Just as Shisu started to speak, a loud shout came. Enough. Stop talking. The person who spoke was Sarutobi Hirozen. His face was full of rage. Tianyu. Since you have found Shisu, why bother to ask me those things? Tianyu shrugged. Just chat. It won't make you lose a piece of meat. Huffing and puffing, Sarutobi Hirozen panted heavily. Won't make him lose a piece of meat? Yes, it won't. But this is more uncomfortable than making him lose a piece of meat. You. Sarutobi Hirozen was so angry at Tianyu that he couldn't speak. Even if he could speak, he didn't know how to deal with the scene with solid evidence. Wait. What on earth is Tianyu going to do? The things that the Hyuga clan had shown before were enough to make Sarutobi Hirozen guilty of death. Now they are digging up the old stories of the Uchiha clan. Whether he dies once or twice, the result for Sarutobi Hirozen is death. If Tianyu wants to ascend to the position of Hokage, he doesn't need to go through so much trouble. If it's not for the position of Hokage, then what on earth does Tianyu want to do? Exclamation mark. Sarutobi Hirozen raised his head and looked at Tianyu again. He found that Tianyu still looked careless and didn't wear any ninja tools. That's because Tianyu has a stored ring. This look really didn't seem to be ready to attack him. Suddenly, Sarutobi Hirozen remembered the beginning when he was interrupted by Tianyu when he tried to stop Orochimaru from the 4th generation of the impure world. Tianyu's words at that time. Don't worry, I don't intend to kill you. You can relax a little, I won't kill you. After all, killing you is too easy for you. An unstoppable coldness instantly occupied Sarutobi Hirozen's body. Sarutobi Hirozen suddenly woke up. He knew what Tengu was really up to. It was not for the position of Hokage, but to expose his crimes and push him to the edge of the cliff. Even when he was at the point of death, Tengu was still chasing him. I won't kill you. Killing you is too easy for you. In Sarutobi Hirozen's mind, Tengu's voice echoed like the whisper of a devil. Tengu said he would not kill him. Sarutobi Hirozen knew that this was true. Tengu really would not kill him. What Tengu wanted was to expose all his sins and present the bloody facts in front of the people of Konoha. Let him face the sins he had committed. Not killing him would make him ashamed to face the people of Konoha, and let him accept the judgment of the people of Konoha. Hiss. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a breath of cold air. Killing you is too easy for you. He finally understood what Tianyu meant by this sentence from the beginning. Tianyu really wanted him to die. But Tianyu would not do it. What Tianyu wanted was for him, Sarutobi Hiruzen, to face his sins and end his life personally. In an instant, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt like he was in hell. Chapter 164 Uzumaki Kushina. Tianyu wants him to die. Or does he want him to die in humiliation? Let him face the mistakes he made and commit suicide in shame. Finally figuring out Tianyu's intention, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face turned pale. Not only to kill people, but also to destroy their hearts. Tianyu has such a cruel heart. Tianyu, I won't let you get your wish. After saying that, Sarutobi Hiruzen's body aroused a large amount of chakra and filled his body. He was going to take action. Being humiliated to death, Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally didn't want to end up like this. Now Tianyu's evidence has not been landed, and the matter has not been concluded. Sarutobi Hiruzen's action is barely justified to subdue the rebellion. Of course, he knows that he is old and cannot defeat the young Tianyu. But death in battle is much better than death in humiliation. Sarutobi Hiruzen moved, a large amount of chakra wrapped around his body. He held the Ruai Vajra rod, and quickly ran towards Tianyu. Sarutobi Hiruzen's speed was very fast, and he used all his strength as soon as he made a move. Tianyu didn't dodge or evade, nor did he show any defensive posture. He smiled and faced Sarutobi Hiruzen, watching Sarutobi Hiruzen rushing towards him with great momentum. Bang! When Sarutobi Hiruzen's Ruai Vajra rod was about to hit Tianyu's head, a wooden hand suddenly jumped out and pinned Sarutobi Hiruzen to the ground with lightning speed. The dignified third Hokage was pinned to the ground like a little chicken and couldn't move at all. The one who attacked was Senju Hashirama. Sarutobi, what do you want to do? Hear what he has to say. Senju Hashirama's face was full of anger. Hearing that the demise of the Uchiha clan was related to Sarutobi Hiruzen, Senju Hashirama's face was slack. This was even worse than when he heard that the Senju clan was destroyed. It's over, I can't explain to Madara. This was what Senju Hashirama thought in his heart. It's over, it's over. It's all over. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was ashen, and he muttered weakly. He rushed forward to attack Tengo, and he rushed forward with the intention of seeking death. It's not that he didn't think about the first generation of Hokage's attack, but Senju Hashirama just subdued him and made him unable to move, so he could only accept Tengo's judgment. Sarutobi Hiruzen was heartbroken. At this point, Sarutobi Hiruzen had only one way, suicide. But he couldn't let people see that he committed suicide, so in the eyes of the people of Konoha, he was committing suicide in the face of his crime. This was the worst result, which would confirm the crime Tengo said. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't want this. He wanted to be decent. Suicide also has to be elegant. He couldn't let people see that he committed suicide, he had to pretend that he died suddenly and unexpectedly. Biting his tongue to commit suicide would not work, and blood would flow out of the corners of his mouth. In this case, Sarutobi Hiruzen could only think of one way. Sarutobi Hiruzen held his breath, and resisted the fear of suffocation. He wanted to suffocate himself to death. No blood was spilled. This was the only way to disguise his death as an accident. A few days before the Uchiha clan was exterminated. Seeing that Sarutobi Hiruzen's riot was settled, Uchiha Shisu, who was a witness, spoke again. The high-ranking officials of Konoha, Shimura Danzo, once came to me. Uchiha Sasuke seemed to be struck by lightning. He listened to Uchiha Shisu's words blankly with disbelief on his face. The truth? The truth of the extermination of the clan? Wasn't it Itachi who exterminated the clan? Exclamation mark. How is it related to the high-ranking officials of Konoha? Question mark. He stared at Uchiha Shisu very seriously, and listened to Shisu's words with full concentration, not missing a single word. But Uchiha Shisu stopped talking. Tianyu raised his hand and signaled Shisu to stop for a while. Because Tianyu saw that Sarutobi Hiruzen's pale face was full of redness and swelling, that was because of being suppressed. Tianyu walked forward, stretched out his hand to pinch open Sarutobi Hiruzen's mouth, and let oxygen pour into it. You want to die now? Don't worry, I won't let you die so soon. Cough. Cough, cough. After holding it in for a long time, Sarutobi Hiruzen coughed violently after drinking a large gulp of fresh oxygen. Tianyu, you. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes were full of hatred, and he didn't hide it at all. Otherwise, Tianyu, who wanted to force him to death, would be satisfied, and he would rather die in glory than live in disgrace. Maybe he would die in a less dignified way. Sarutobi Hiruzen made a decision in his heart. Orochimaru, summon the rest of the people. Tianyu let go and shouted to Orochimaru. Seeing Sarutobi Hiruzen like this, Tianyu knew that Sarutobi Hiruzen's defense was broken. He had to hurry up and present everything while Sarutobi Hiruzen was still alive. Orochimaru nodded, he put his hands together, and chakra surged in his body. Thump, thump, thump from the ground, wooden coffins rose again. These wooden coffins did not have numbers like the first, second and fourth generation wooden coffins. But the number of wooden coffins that rose the second time was not 3. There were more than 10 wooden coffins. Bang, bang, bang. The coffin lids fell to the ground, and one figure after another appeared in everyone's sight. Kushina looking at one of the wooden coffins, Minato Namake's eyes could not move away. The red hair fluttered, attracting the attention of many people. Minato. What am I doing? Uzumaki Kushina, who had just been released from the impure world reincarnation, was a little confused. She didn't know what happened. But immediately, Kushina threw all these questions behind her. Her eyes also looked at Minato Namake's side. Her attention was attracted by the boy next to Minato Namake's. Is it Naruto? Seeing the golden hair and the face that looked a bit like Minato Namake's and herself, Uzumaki Kushina's eyes were misty. Namake's Minato nodded vigorously. Uzumaki Kushina threw away all doubts and ran towards Naruto. Naruto. I am your mother. Tears burst out of her eyes. Like a flood. Naruto was very surprised. He looked at Tianyu for help. Tianyu just smiled back. Let his little brother Naruto enjoy the family happiness. In just a short moment, Uzumaki Kushina could shed so many tears. Tianyu couldn't help but sigh. Women are really made of water. It was not only Namake's Minato who locked his eyes on one of the dozens of wooden coffins. There was also Hatake Kakashi. He stared at one of the dozens of wooden coffins that came out later. His dead fish eyes shrank to the extreme due to excessive shock. It was a middle-aged man with white hair and a heroic face. He carried a short knife behind him, and his white ponytail was blown up by the wind. Father, father. Looking at that man, Kakashi said dully. Beside Kakashi, Might Guy also froze in place. His eyes were also drawn to the person in the wooden coffin. It was a black-haired man with thick eyebrows and big eyes, wearing a green tights and a yellow scarf. Might Guy's father, Might Guy. Chapter 165, Resurrection. Kakashi felt like something was stuck in his throat. He wanted to speak but didn't know what to say. Father. A fragrant breeze passed by Kakashi, and Yuhi Kurani hurried to the field. Her father, Yuhi Shinku, was also revived. Yuhi Kurani didn't care about so much when she had the chance to see her deceased father again. Seeing that Yuhi Kurani had already taken action, Kakashi and Might Guy followed closely, and the two of them also rushed to the field. Off the field, Uchiha Itachi was trembling all over. He was not so excited about the resurrection of Uzumaki Kushina, Hatake Tsukumo, Might Guy and others. But his father, Uchiha Fugaku, was also among them. He was very excited and complicated. Oh, Oto-san. Uchiha Sasuke looked at Uchiha Fugaku in the wooden coffin in disbelief. His mind was blank. Then, the arrogant and cold young man Uchiha Sasuke, his voice contained full of tenderness, Father. He ran towards Uchiha Fugaku. Sakura's eyes turned into hearts. Sasuke-kun looks so cute. Yes, the 3 dead Hokage were not enough. Tianyu had a backup plan. Uchiha Fugaku was also one of his backup plans. Shisu was not strong enough as a witness. Although Shisu gave Tianyu a great gift that could make Sarutobi Hiruzen admit his sins sincerely, Tianyu felt that it was too wasteful. So he also prepared a copy of Uchiha Fugaku's body. If Shisu could not convince the people of Konoha, Tianyu was going to release Uchiha Fugaku as evidence. But I didn't expect it. Tianyu had a lot of backup plans left, but Sarutobi Hiruzen had already fallen. Father. When he came to Hatake Tsukumo, Hatake Kakashi had a complicated expression. Anyway, you have already thrown away the swordsmanship of the Hatake clan, the famous copy ninja Kakashi. Tianyu's previous words made Kakashi somewhat ashamed to face his father Hatake Tsukumo. The revived Konoha White Fang, seeing Kakashi coming towards him, he ignored Kakashi and walked straight to Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju. Sir Hokage, Nide Hokage. He went to pay respects to the two prestigious Hokage first. Behind him, Kakashi looked lonely. Sure enough. Did I disappoint my father? Of course not. Hatake Tsukumo is a dead person, so he naturally doesn't know what happened in these years. In the afterlife, he had a gentle and heart-to-heart talk with Kakashi, and of course he was not disappointed with Kakashi. Hatake Tsukumo is a very good ninja. This is the world of the living. The first and second Hokage are present, and there are countless people around. The situation is very complicated. Hatake Tsukumo immediately clarified his purpose. First, we must figure out what the current situation is. Hatake Tsukumo certainly knows Hashirama Senju and Tobirama Senju. This is a person who deserves Hatake Tsukumo's full trust, so he ignored Kakashi and walked straight to the respected first and second generation Hokage, wanting to understand the situation. Guy, you have grown up. Father, I didn't expect to see you again. Guy, you are so old, why are you crying? This is not tears, this is the blood of youth. Might Guy was crying and chatting with a laughing Might Guy. Father. Hong, you have grown up. On the side, the conversation between Yuhi Kurni and a middle-aged man with a very majestic appearance sounded. The arrogant and cold young man Sasuke threw himself into his father's arms, but was pulled away by his equally arrogant father Uchiha Fugaku. Father, what is the truth of the extermination of the clan back then? Weren't you and your mother killed by Itachi? Hearing the words of Shisu and Amaji, Sasuke was also thoughtful. Uchiha Fugaku didn't answer. He stared at everyone on the field with a serious look. He was the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, the patriarch of the strongest clan in Konoha. This identity made Uchiha Fugaku eager to figure out what was going on here. Like Hatake Tsukumo, he wanted to figure out the situation first. But the difference was, there was no one on the field that he could trust, no one that the Uchiha clan could feel at ease with. The first and second generation Hokage were actually here. If only the ancestor of our Uchiha clan, Uchiha Madara, was here. Uchiha Fugaku, who couldn't figure out the situation, thought so subconsciously. Rope Tree. Tsunade's excited voice came, and her brother Senju Rope Tree also revived. Well, among the Senju clan, the first and second generation Hokage both appeared, and Konoha's Princess Tsunade also stood on Tianyu's side. Tianyu naturally didn't need to summon Rope Tree to let Senju Rope Tree testify. But Senju Rope Tree was still summoned. Well, this is all Tianyu's little idea. It's just to let Tsunade meet her brother. Sister. Senju Naki looked at Tsunade with a confused face. Tsunade hugged Naki into her arms, tears falling from the corners of her eyes. Uzumaki Kushina burst into tears when she saw Naruto, and Tsunade also burst into tears when she saw Naki. Tianyu was a little emotional. Sure enough, women are made of water. Grandpa, second grandfather. Senju Naki saw the people behind Tsunade clearly, and he was even more confused. Although he was confused, Senju Naki was very excited to see his loved ones. Wow. I didn't expect to see you. I'm so happy. But before he could be happy for a while, he became lonely. Grandpa is dead, second grandfather is dead, and I seem to be dead too. Senju Naki looked at Tsunade with regret. Sister, are you dead too? Hearing this, Tsunade was stunned. She stood up and gave Senju Naki a slap in the face. You little brat, are you cursing me? Senju Naki cried out in pain and habitually held his head and denied, No, Sister Tsunade, I was wrong. For a long while, there was no follow-up. Senju Naki was a little weird. Normally, Tsunade would have hide him a few more times. Noise looked up and looked at Tsunade cautiously. Crystal tears hung on her delicate face. The breeze blew, her long golden hair fluttered slightly, and Tsunade smiled like a flower. The heroes of Konoha came on stage one after another, and Tianyu was not in a hurry to explain the current situation to them. After all, the heroes of the past generations did not know Tianyu. The first generation Hokage, Senju Hashirama, was present, and Senju Hashirama's words were more convincing. So Tianyu did not speak, allowing Senju Hashirama to convey information to them, waiting for the heroes who sacrificed to understand the current situation. On the side, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was pale. Judging from Tianyu's previous actions, since Tianyu has brought out the spirits of these people, Tianyu must know the stories behind them and has enough evidence to convict Sarutobi Hiruzen. No, don't. Chapter 166, Death of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Stop talking. These things cannot be made public. Konoha will be ruined. Sarutobi Hiruzen was no longer as fierce as before, and there was a hint of pleading in his voice. As the Hokage for decades, Sarutobi Hiruzen did many things, but he thought he was a competent Hokage. He still had feelings for Konoha, and still hoped that Konoha could develop positively. If Tianyu revealed all these old things, not only would Sarutobi Hiruzen be infamous for thousands of years, but Konoha would also be doomed. When the people of Konoha knew the truth that Konoha had done so many things to trap and kill the heroes who had sacrificed for the village, would the hearts of Konoha still be united? Who would be willing to work hard for such a village? Orochimaru and the Uchiha clan. If Sarutobi Hiruzen takes on these two things, he will die without a burial place. But Tianyu summoned the spirits of the heroes and Sarutobi Hiruzen was frightened. Killing people from all sides of Konoha will make the people of Konoha completely disappointed and heartbroken. In that case, Konoha will be destroyed. Tianyu looked at him quietly, admiring the look of the third-generation Hokage begging for mercy. There was no sympathy on his face. Now that you know the consequences when these things are revealed, you repent now? Now you look like you are doing it for Konoha. What were you doing when you did these things? Exclamation mark. It's too late. Tianyu sneered and looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen. He said nothing. As you wish. I will act as you wish. I will admit my crime, be despised by all, and commit suicide in public. But Konoha is innocent. Don't destroy Konoha. On the side, Hoshirama Senju heard this and removed the wooden hand's grip. Sarutobi Hiruzen got up from the ground. His steps were weak and he staggered to the middle. Everyone. Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke. He forced himself to make his voice louder. I'm sorry everyone. I'm sorry Konoha. As soon as the voice fell, with a thud, Sarutobi Hiruzen knelt on the ground. Bong. A dull sound sounded. Sarutobi Hiruzen put his forehead to the ground, and he kowtowed to the people of Konoha. What happened to the Hyuga clan back then was all my fault. Kneeling on the ground, he slowly moved his body with his knees, and kowtowed again to the Hyuga Hayashi in front of him. Hyuga clan leader, I'm sorry. After doing all these things, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up and spoke again. Human experiment. I did know about it and participated in it. Kneeling on the ground again, he faced Orochimaru and kowtowed. Teacher Orochimaru, I'm sorry. Sarutobi Hiruzen's behavior surprised everyone. Seeing him so humble, no one could sympathize with him. After all, his words revealed his dark sins. Sarutobi Hiruzen's attitude was very humble, so humble that it was surprising. With such an attitude, who would be willing to do this? He now only hoped that Tianyu would not reveal more things and destroy Konoha. This was his last wish, and for this reason, he was willing to make such a gesture. There is indeed a hidden story behind the extermination of the Uchiha clan. It is indeed related to me. He turned his head and kowtowed to the blind Uchiha Shisu, and then turned his head and kowtowed to the Uchiha Fugaku who came out of the impure world. I am sorry for the Uchiha clan. Then, he faced his teacher Senju Tobirama and the first-generation Hokage Senju Hoshirama. The Senju clan was exterminated. I am also sorry for the Senju clan. Bang, bang, bang. Sarutobi Hiruzen kowtowed until his head was broken and bleeding. After doing all this, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Tianyu again. Tianyu, I'm sorry. You worked hard for Konoha, but I let Danzo bring disaster to Konoha and made him want to attack your family. It's all my fault. I am an unqualified Hokage. After saying that, Sarutobi Hiruzen kowtowed heavily to Tianyu again. Among all people, what he needed most was Tianyu to be satisfied with his actions. Only if Tianyu was satisfied, he would not reveal more darkness and would not let Konoha be destroyed. Seeing Sarutobi Hiruzen in such an attitude, Tianyu did not say anything, but just watched Sarutobi Hiruzen's performance quietly. At the very end, Sarutobi Hiruzen turned to Naruto, turned to Namokaze Minato, and turned to Uzumaki Kushina. Naruto, it's your grandfather who is sorry for you. Minato, I'm sorry for your family. Dong dong dong. Sarutobi Hiruzen kowtowed to Naruto's family 3 more times. Uzumaki Kushina protected Naruto behind her. She knew the general situation from Namokaze Minato. Kushina glared at Sarutobi Hiruzen, shameless guy, Whose grandfather are you calling yourself? Naruto doesn't have an elder like you. After a pause, Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke. Sorry, Naruto. Sarutobi Hiruzen felt that the person he was most sorry for was Naruto's family. Here, he also said one more sentence. That night of the Nine Tails. It was not me who leaked the exact time when Uzumaki Kushina gave birth to her child. The difficulty of the Nine Tails was because Uzumaki Kushina gave birth to Naruto, when the seal of the Nine Tails was at its weakest. At this weakest time, an enemy happened to attack. The Knight of the Nine Tails also had a dark hidden. Tianyu did not point this out, because he could not take down Uchiha Obito and had no evidence. But now, Sarutobi Hiruzen took the initiative to talk about this matter. Over the years, I have checked it out. The person who leaked the exact time of Kushina's birth was Danzo. What? Everyone present was shocked. The Knight of the Nine Tails was the most recent disaster in Konoha. They remembered it deeply. The Knight of the Nine Tails was the biggest disaster in their hearts. And now, the biggest disaster was caused by Konoha's own people? How could they not be shocked? Countless Konoha ninjas risked their lives outside just to make Konoha live a better life, but the people in Konoha used all means to make Konoha suffer disasters and damage. They were disappointed. After telling this story, Sarutobi Hiruzen did not even check whether the Namokaze Minato family looked better towards him. It was time to go. He moved his knees again. Facing the people of Konoha, I'm sorry to everyone, sorry to Konoha. I'm not a competent Hokage. As he said this, Sarutobi Hiruzen took out a dark kunai. I have no face to face you. With a puff, Sarutobi Hiruzen stabbed the dark kunai into his heart and his chest. Blood flowed out from his chest. The chakra around Sarutobi Hiruzen dimmed and slowly lost its activity. Cough cough. After coughing twice, blood flowed from the corner of Sarutobi Hiruzen's mouth. I have done so many bad things, I can only die to apologize. I hope everyone can forgive me. Sarutobi Hiruzen's life was fading quickly. If possible, can you scatter my ashes in the wind of Konoha? After saying this, Sarutobi Hiruzen's life was completely cut off. The third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen died just like that. Chapter 167. It's time to end. Sarutobi Hiruzen died. In front of everyone, he admitted his crimes and died with a kunai. Chaotic voices lingered in my ears for a long time. Some people cursed Sarutobi Hiruzen, some lamented that Sarutobi Hiruzen committed suicide, and some were confused about where Konoha's future would be. In short, Sarutobi Hiruzen died. His last wish was that Tianyu would not reveal more things, and hoped that his ashes would be blown in the wind of Konoha. Would Tianyu satisfy Sarutobi Hiruzen's dying wish? No. Sarutobi Hiruzen died, and ended his own life just as Tianyu wanted. But Konoha, which had been decaying for a long time, had to dig out the rotten roots in order to revive everyone. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen died, the matter is not over. Tianyu shouted. Growing up in Konoha and being involved with the people in Konoha, Tianyu still had feelings for Konoha and a sense of belonging. He still loved Konoha. Konoha, which has been corrupted by Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo for a long time, is like a terminally ill patient. In order to save Konoha and revitalize Konoha, Tianyu must take drastic measures. The darkness of Konoha. He will still reveal it one by one. The bloody facts are certainly difficult to accept, but they can also make people grow. The former patriarch of the Hatake clan, who is known as the White Fang of Konoha and makes the enemy terrified, is here now. White Fang of Konoha. I believe many people still have an impression of him. Back then, Hatake Tsukumo chose to save his partners between the mission and his partners, and gave up the mission and was slandered by rumors and hanged himself. Now, except for the dead Sarutobi Hiruzen, all the previous Hokage are here. You can ask the previous Hokage, is the White Fang of Konoha really wrong? Tianyu's scolding voice sounded again, hitting the hearts of everyone in Konoha hard. Tsukumo, you. After hearing what Tianyu said, the first and second generations knew the cause of Hatake Tsukumo's death. Thank you for your hard work, Hatake Tsukumo. Both Hokage sighed, and then Senju Hashirama came out and faced the people of Konoha. I think Hatake Tsukumo not only did nothing wrong to give up the mission and save his companions, but he should be praised. It is unknown what mission Hatake Tsukumo gave up and what the loss was, but Senju Hashirama has already stood up to clear Hatake Tsukumo's name. Gentle, great. Senju Hashirama is such a person. Does Konoha White Fang really deserve to die? Does he really deserve to be insulted and slandered by the people of Konoha? No. He shouldn't. The mission is as important as the companions, and no one can tell right from wrong. Tianyu paused when he said this. Not to mention, Hatake Tsukumo was deliberately framed. The person who was saved by Hatake Tsukumo after he gave up his mission after being rescued, he jumped out and scolded Hatake Tsukumo for giving up his mission, which made countless Konoha people follow suit. I have found out that the person is a member of Konoha's high-level officials. That's enough. After all, Sarutobi Hiruzen has committed suicide, and no one is confronting Tianyu anymore. Even if the evidence is brought out, it will be used by people with ulterior motives to make trouble. He just said, believe it or not, you decide for yourself. You all say it's long and watery, so just be brief. My teacher might guy's father might guy. Tianyu changed the subject and mentioned the second person. It's really amazing Ishinan actually met the 7 ninja swords of Kirigakure in the war zone, and all the 7 ninja swords were there. It's really rare. Tianyu became a Riddler again. Ishinan and his son's Jinan team can actually gather the 7 ninja swordsmen. What an honor. And it was such a Jinan who could beat the 7 ninja swordsmen to death and 3 escape. Don't you think there's something wrong with this? 1v7, 4 of the 7 ninja swordsmen died and 3 escaped. With such combat power, might die is just a Jinan. Are the 7 ninja swordsmen that Kirigakure is so proud of so useless? At this point, the topic ended. So many incredible points have been pointed out, and everyone knows that there is a problem. The Yuhi clan's Yuhi Shiku is also like this. A genius ninja who lived in the era before the Uchiha clan was destroyed and could stand out with illusions died quietly on the battlefield. Do you think it makes sense? The Uchiha clan is so unbearable that they can't even suppress a random soldier who is silent on the battlefield. Sarutobi Hiruzen is already dead, and there is no need for Tianyu to say more details. This turmoil. It's time to end. Hiku. After quickly calling out all the heroes one by one, Tianyu suddenly shouted while everyone was thinking. Whoosh, 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 a masked purple-haired young woman appeared in front of Tianyu. Captain Mangayu. Oh, it's her. Tsunade said suddenly. Before that, Tsunade saw Anbu coming in and out of Tianyu's room. At that time, she felt that those Anbu were familiar. She couldn't remember who they were. Now Tianyu called out their names, and Hiku's figure was completely revealed in front of Tsunade. Tsunade knew where the familiar feeling came from. This was a member of Tianyu's Anbu team when Tianyu was in the Anbu action. Is King Island okay? Tianyu asked. Hiku asked, are we going to act now? Tianyu nodded. After Hiku received the order, a loud whistle blew. Boom, boom. Suddenly, explosions occurred in 2 places at the Chunin exam site. A group of ninjas that had never been seen in Konoha were exposed. They were the ninjas summoned by Danzo. Captain Miyu, there is another stronghold where the enemy gathers 2 kilometers northwest. Quing, wearing a mask, shouted loudly. On the side, Deodeo, also wearing a mask, also appeared. Captain Miyu, a seal formation was found under the entrance passage for the Chunin exam contestants. Shimura Danzo should be hiding there. Yes, these people were all members of Tianyu's former Anbu team. After returning from the incident in the land of hot springs, although Quing and Deodeo were not bullied by Tianyu, Sarutobi Hiruzen did not give them a chance. With no hope for the future, Quing and Deodeo chose another way. They joined the Konoha High Level, the route led by Shimura Danzo. After the sealed book incident, they, who had just joined the route, learned that Shimura Danzo had led people to attack Tianyu's home, and they were shocked. Tianyu saved them in the land of hot springs who acted on their own, and did not bully them afterwards. They were very grateful to Tianyu. Facing Tianyu, they felt guilty and dared not attack Tianyu. After the sealed book incident, the number of route members was greatly reduced, and Danzo was short of manpower, so he did not have such high requirements for new members joining the route, and let Quing and Deodeo join the subsequent plan. So, Quing and Deodeo, who got the news, first found Hikaru to discuss, and then the 3 of them secretly rushed to Tianyu's house and told Tianyu the means prepared by Danzo. This is their repayment. Chapter 168 Off A, your old rival is now in your hands. Quing, who has the Byakugan, found out what Danzo's lurking people were, and detonated the base of the lurkers. There were many figures, and after those ninjas who were not from Konoha were exposed, the Konoha ninjas also took action immediately. Danzo had summoned a lot of people, but in front of the Konoha ninjas, they were as insignificant as a cow's hair. In a short while, the people summoned by Danzo, who were exposed by Quing, were surrounded by Konoha ninjas in 3 circles inside and outside. Among this group of ninjas, half were recruited by Danzo from the underground ninjas with money. Surrounded by a large number of Konoha ninjas, they gave up resistance directly. They just stood there and didn't move. Nonsense. Not to mention that Konoha has a lot of people, they also have a lot of shadows. The first generation, the second generation, the fourth generation. Well, what's the point of this? The only way for them to survive is to confess the matter obediently and hope that Konoha will let them go. As a member of the Endearing clan, Hideo has parasitic insects on his body, so his 5 senses are very sensitive. He found the smell of a seal array underground, and it was probably Danzo hiding there. After telling Tianyu about this, a huge ice dragon danced from the tip of Tianyu's sword and swiftly smashed towards the place where Hideo pointed. Rumble, the earth cracked, and the powerful force smashed the bottom of the Chunin exam and the seal array that isolated the smell. Ice dust rolled, and Danzo and the 4 people of the Akatsuki organization were exposed to everyone. Uchiha Sasuke's pupils shrank sharply. He looked in the direction of Danzo and whispered, "Uchiha Itachi. Danzo-sama is really elegant." Looking at Shimura Danzo, Tianyu sneered. "Before Sarutobi Hiruzen died, we sent people to look for you but to no avail. I didn't expect that you, as a high-ranking official of Konoha, would hide here and watch the show. The human experiment and the Uchiha clan genocide incident have not been concluded yet. How about asking the elder of Konoha, Danzo Shimura, to take off your clothes for everyone to see?" Danzo Shimura, who was stared at by Tianyu, was sweating coldly. "Take off your clothes and let Konoha see? How is it possible? If he did that, not only would he die, he would also be infamous like Sarutobi Hiruzen. He didn't want this. He didn't want to die. What should I do now?" "Escape," Danzo said to the people beside him. "How can I escape when so many people are staring at me?" Konan said expressionlessly. She was a little indignant. When Hoshigaki Kisame proposed to take action, they should have taken advantage of the chaos. Now that Sarutobi Hiruzen is dead, Konoha is united. All the previous Hokages of Konoha are present. No matter how arrogant the Akatsuki organization is, even if Pine, who has the Samsara Eye, is here, they dare not attack Konoha rashly. 1 against 7. Seeing Itachi, Uchiha Sasuke got angry. He used Chidori in his hand and was about to run towards Itachi. "Itachi, give me an explanation." Having learned a few things about the Uchiha clan's extermination from Tianyu, Sasuke knew that Itachi had a hidden secret. But he still couldn't forgive Itachi. He couldn't forgive him for killing his father and mother with his own hands. Seeing that a Jinan in Konoha was so murderous that he wanted to rush towards the 4 people of the Akatsuki organization, plus a Danzo, Hoshigaki Kisame's cheeks twitched. "This kid doesn't look very smart." He turned his head and looked at Uchiha Itachi. "Your brother is really not like you. Are you 2 really brothers? One was stupid and the other was smart." Hoshigaki Kisame had enough reason to suspect that Itachi and Sasuke were not born to the same parents. Uchiha Itachi was silent for a while, and said sparingly, "Shut up." On the field, Tianyu grabbed Uchiha Sasuke who was running fast with Chidori. "Calm down." Tianyu shook his head. The cold Sasuke was really an unsolvable brother complex. In the ninja school and during the Chunin exam, Sasuke was a very qualified and very smart ninja. Why did he lose his mind when he saw Itachi? "Let go, let me go. I want to find Itachi, he owes me an explanation." The cold Sasuke looked crazy. Tianyu held his forehead with one hand, he was a little helpless. Okay, I'll take you there, don't mess around." As soon as the voice fell, a kunai was thrown out and landed on Danzo Akatsuki. Whoosh, Tianyu and Sasuke appeared on the kunai. This is... Namikaze Minato looked at Tianyu in a daze. He was too familiar with this ninjutsu. Flying Thunder God. "Let's go too." Beside him, the first Hokage Senju Hashirama said, and he also rushed to Tianyu's side. The second Hokage, the fourth Hokage, and many Konoha heroes also rushed over with Senju Hashirama. Tianyu, Tsunade, Orochimaru, Jiraiya Senju Hashirama, Senju Tobirama, Namikaze Minato, Hatake Sakumo, Mitai, Yuhi Shinku, Kakashi, Might Guy, Yuhi Kurenai. Such a team, even if the 6th Path Sage was alive, He would not dare to confront him head-on. Not to mention that there are ninjas from all sides in Konoha, and the elites of the major clans are watching them. Run, run quickly. Danzo's face was full of fear. He had a narrow escape this time. Whether he could escape or not, it all depended on whether the Akatsuki organization was strong enough. Afei, your old rival, Senju Hashirama, will be handed over to you in a while. Hold him back. Hoshigaki Kisame turned his head and looked at Afei. It turns out that this guy is very hidden. But he did not suspect Afei, and did not guess his identity as Uchiha Madara, the old rival of the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama. What a joke! Who said it must be Uchiha Madara? After all, there was Kokuzu in the Akatsuki organization who threw shurikens from 800 miles away to fight with Senju Hashirama. With a case of Kokuzu, Kisame was not surprised at all that Afei was the old rival of Senju Hashirama. Hearing Konan's arrangement, Afei was under great pressure. He wanted to say that he would not go, and wanted to reject Konan's idea. Who is Senju Hashirama? Exclamation mark. The first Hokage. He caught the tailed beast like a chicken, and beat Uchiha Madara to the point that he could not take care of himself. He could only rely on the outer path demon statue to keep alive. Such a powerful guy, Uchiha Obito did not want to face it. But, in Konan's eyes, he, a young boy, was Uchiha Madara. He could not refuse. Whoosh, 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 one figure after another rushed over, surrounding the Akatsuki organization in Danzo. A playful smile appeared on Shionyu's face. Danzo, do you think you can escape? Sweating profusely, Danzo remained silent in the face of Shionyu's question. You. Besides Shiony, Jiraiya looked at Konan with doubt in his eyes and spoke. He felt that this woman was somewhat familiar. Looking at Jiraiya, Konan's face rarely showed a smile. Long time no see, Jiraiya teacher. Boom. Jiraiya's mind exploded. You are Konan. He exclaimed in surprise. At the same time, hundreds of detonating tags flew out of Konan's body, and the flames flickered. The detonating tags were ignited. Boom. The shocking explosion filled everyone's vision with flames. Konan's delicate voice rang out, take advantage of now, run away. Chapter 169 You are not Madara. The violent explosion was deafening. The flames that shot up into the sky stunned everyone. Taking this opportunity, Konan led the members of the Akatsuki organization, followed by Danzo, and ran out. The members of the Akatsuki organization were all strong. But now the heroes in Konoha who were summoned by the impure world reincarnation were even stronger. Not long after they ran, they saw the first generation of Hokage leading the countless impure world army blocking them. They were stopped. Konan, how could you? Jiraiya found it difficult to speak. Until now, he still couldn't believe that the child he saved that year would be mixed with Danzo. Senju Tobirama stood up, he looked at Konan and said, little girl, your use of the detonating talisman is quite interesting. Senju Tobirama exclaimed. Hatake Sakumo stared at Danzo Shimura, like a hunter staring at his prey. He spoke in a low voice, Danzo, take off your clothes, let us see if you have the cells of the first Hokage transplanted into your body, as well as the Uchiha clan's Sharingan. Shionyu's smiled and did not respond, just looking at Danzo quietly. Ling. Mission released, kill Danzo Shimura. Mission reward, one-hit kill, Murasame. Such a voice sounded in Shionyu's mind. But he was not in a hurry to act. Well, it's also good to appreciate Danzo's painful struggle. It's very difficult to escape from the hands of the heroes of Konoha. As a last resort, Konan had to give orders. Escape in a scattered manner and act according to the situation. Whoosh, whoosh, the 4 people of the Akatsuki organization, plus Danzo, a total of 5 people, fled in 5 directions. The people of Konoha also moved. Obito was also happy in his heart. It's better to be a little chaotic. Even if it's a little chaotic, he doesn't have to face the first Hokage Senju Hashirama. Just when Uchiha Obito was feeling happy, a special black Kune appeared in front of him. Then, a golden figure appeared. Hey, a guy who claims to be Uchiha Madara. Where do you want to run to? The person who came was none other than Minato Namikaze. Since Uchiha Obito's figure appeared, Minato Namikaze has been staring at him. Of course, he could not forget this mysterious man with a shit yellow mask, who is the main culprit of the Nine Tails Night. Facing Minato Namikaze, facing his teacher. The young boy Uchiha Obito, his face darkened. I really don't want to fight with this smart Minato Namikaze on the Nine Tails night. Even though Uchiha Obito had an unsolvable space ninjutsu in his hand, he was still hit by a Rasengan from Minato Namikaze. This feeling is really uncomfortable. His teacher Minato Namikaze is a very smart person. He was able to catch his flaws and hurt him in the first fight. Now is not the night of the Nine Tails, and Uzumaki Kushina cannot be a weakness for Minato Namikaze. Uchiha Obito said, even if he faces the first-generation Hokage, Hashirama Senju, he is unwilling to face Minato Namikaze who knows his flaws. Just when Obito was thinking this, a somewhat excited voice sounded. Uchiha Madara. Hashirama Senju came to Minato Namikaze with shining eyes, and he looked at the masked Tefei with burning eyes. You are Madara. Hashirama Senju looked at Uchiha Obito with shining eyes and asked him with an excited voice. Chakra perception can detect the identity of the other party. But Uchiha Obito did some things to himself, changing his breath, so that even if he stood in front of Kakashi, Kakashi could not identify his identity through chakra. I facing the first-generation Hokage's question, Uchiha Obito was a little entangled. He didn't know whether he should continue to occupy the identity of Uchiha Madara. Before he could speak, Hashirama Senju approached him and moved his nose, as if he was sniffing something. You are not Madara. Hashirama Senju said in a certain tone. The excitement on his face disappeared, replaced by full of disappointment. The smell of Madara is not like yours. Uchiha Obito was shocked. How could this be possible? Exclamation mark. He wanted to ask, First Hokage, what is your nose made of? Can this expose his identity? Exclamation mark. On the side, Namikaze Minato was also stunned by the First Hokage's behavior. But he immediately came back to his senses. First Hokage, this guy is the murderer who killed me and Kushina. Leave this man to me. Namikaze Minato said in a deep voice. But Hashirama Senju shook his head. He used Madara's name to do bad things. I can't let him go and watch Madara being slandered by others. Uchiha Obito felt very uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable. He was targeted by two of the three former Hokages present at the same time. I really don't know whether it is his honor or bad luck. But there is one thing he wants to clarify. Using Madara's name to do bad things? Exclamation mark. Do you think he, Uchiha Madara, is a good person? Exclamation mark. I did it according to Uchiha Madara's plan. Exclamation mark. Yes. Hearing what Senju Hashirama said, Namikaze Minato was a little embarrassed. He really wanted to take revenge himself. If it weren't for the man in front of him, he and Kushina would not have died, and Naruto would not have suffered these pains. Senju Hashirama is still very considerate. Seeing Namikaze Minato's look, he smiled and said, Then let's do it together. You take your revenge, I will punish the villain who used Madara's name. Namikaze Minato nodded and agreed, okay. In Uchiha Obito's desperate eyes, a huge wooden hand and a blue glowing Rasengan followed one after another. He immediately used Kamui and turned his body into a phantom. Good, so scary. The first and fourth Hokage joined forces. A cross-era Hokage collaboration, do you think the audience will like it? Exclamation mark. The weapon behind you, such a big weapon, it should be Samehoda from the 7 ninja swords. Might Guy and Might Guy in their impure bodies, as well as Yuhi Shinku, stood in front of Kisame. Might Guy, who had fought against the 7 ninja swords, was very familiar with the weapon behind Kisame. Did the people from Kirigakure also take action in this operation? Forget it, it's not important. A hearty voice sounded, and Might Guy shouted, Guy, let me see if you have improved over the years. Oh, I'm burning. Might Guy roared, and 6 gates opened on his body instantly. Seeing his father who had died to protect him and had not seen him for decades, Might Guy wanted his father to see his growth, so he showed his strength from the beginning. Ha, not bad, Guy. It seems you haven't wasted these years. But, it's not enough. After saying that, Might Guy in his impure world body also opened the 8 gates of the ninjutsu, and opened 6 gates in one breath. A huge amount of chara poured out of Might Guy, and he laughed. He was about to respond to Might Guy and tell him that he still needed to work hard. But Might Guy suddenly fell into thought. I am now in my impure world body. Does it mean I don't have to worry about my body and can directly open the 8th gate? Hoshigaki Kisame, who was standing aside, felt his heart chilled when he heard Might Guy's words. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170 Report: Someone is fixing the match. As one of the 7 ninja swordsmen and the holder of Samehoda, Hashigaki Kisame certainly knows the history of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Might Guy 4 dead and 3 escaped. 8 Gates Kisame: Mom, Konoha is so scary, I want to go home. Pa. Just as Might Guy was trying to open the 8 gates to demonstrate to Guy, some parts of Might Guy's impure world body broke apart. This body can't bear it. Might Guy sighed. Impure world body is an immortal body. The places where Might Guy's muscles burst apart quickly condensed again. Well, let's just use 6 gates. Guy, are you ready? Might Guy shouted to Might Guy beside him, eager to try. Let's compete and see who can make the enemy more unbearable. After that, Might Guy rushed towards Hashigaki Kisame like an arrow on a string. Bang! The violent collision and the rapid speed made Hashigaki Kisame unable to react in time, and he was hit by Might Guy and flew far away. Father, watch me. At some point, Hashigaki Kisame, who was flying, heard Might Guy shouting behind him, Konoha's great cyclone. Hashigaki Kisame, who was still flying after being hit by Might Guy, felt a strong force coming from behind. He changed the direction of his flight. Towards the sky, towards the scorching sun. Hashigaki Kisame's eyes were filled with tears. He, a tailless tailed beast, was actually being hit like a volleyball. Boom, boom, boom. In one direction of Konoha, violent explosions rang continuously, and the flames rose layer by layer, continuously. Second generation Hokage, please hold back and spare her life. Jiraiya stood anxiously on the edge of the war and shouted to Senju Tobirama. Konan is a good kid. She must have a reason for doing this. Please show some mercy, second Hokage. Jiraiya was answered by the explosion of the exploding talisman again and again. Looking at the white paper covering the sky, there were a lot of explosive exploding talismans. A hint of admiration appeared in Senju Tobirama's eyes. Little girl, you are very good at playing with the exploding talisman. Don't let me down. Multiplication of exploding talisman technique. Boom 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 boom. The explosions continued, and Jiraiya was so anxious that he jumped up and down. The second Hokage asked him to show some mercy. How come he was still out of position at the beginning? Even if you don't want to show some mercy to Konan, at least show some mercy to Konoha. Multiplication of exploding talisman. It is said that this is a forbidden technique that can summon trillions of exploding talismans. Exclamation mark. Aren't you afraid of blowing Konoha away? Exclamation mark. Jiraiya quickly took out a bunch of scrolls and placed them on the ground. He formed a seal with his hands to create a light yellow defensive barrier to block the continuous explosion. Don't worry, I'm quite confident in playing with the exploding talisman. Amidst the violent explosion, Konan calmly responded to the second Hokage Senju Tobirama. Then, she waved her hand, and the white paper pieces in the sky attacked the second Hokage Senju Tobirama. Boom, boom, boom. Every piece of paper turned into an exploding talisman, burning itself and causing a violent explosion. Mutually multiplying exploding talismans, the art of the paper god. Both sides are experts in playing with exploding talismans, and the continuous explosions X2. Jiraiya was so anxious that he jumped up and down. The barrier class in Konoha, come and help me. I can't hold on alone. Come here quickly, or Konoha will be blown away. If Kikuzu of the Akatsuki organization came back to life and saw the battle between Konan and Senju Tobirama, he would definitely jump up and down and curse. Prodigal son. All prodigal sons. Detonating talismans. This is the hard currency of the ninja world. You can sell it for a small amount of money. You guys are going to detonate so many detonating talismans that you can't count them. Are you guys competing in strength? Exclamation mark. No. You guys are all competing to see who has more money. The fight between Konoha and Akatsuki, the Krypton Gold War between Konoha and Akatsuki. Fortunately, Tianyu didn't use Kikuzu to make the impure world body, otherwise Kikuzu would have been so distressed when he saw this extravagant way of fighting that he would have been pissed off to death again. Well, even though the impure world body is immortal, the members of Akatsuki and Danzo fled separately. Tianyu naturally went to chase Danzo. After all, there are mission rewards to be taken. Without Tianyu's control, Sasuke, As the second pillar of a family that controls brothers, naturally had to go find Uchiha Itachi. Itachi. Lightning flashed on Sasuke's face again, holding Chidori in his hand. He looked at Uchiha Itachi with hatred. Even if there is a hidden reason for the extermination of the Uchiha clan. But I still can't forgive you. Why did you kill my father and mother? With a roar, Najiruko rushed towards Uchiha Itachi with Chidori in his hand and smashed him. Najiruko, a Jinan, versus Uchiha Itachi. Well, the ending is doomed. With a super high dynamic vision of the Sharingan, Uchiha Itachi easily moved his hands and knocked down Uchiha Sasuke. Really weak. My stupid Odo. After saying this, Uchiha Itachi was silent. Now that the truth of the demise of the Uchiha clan has been revealed, it seems that the subsequent events will reveal the extermination of the Uchiha clan. In this situation, does he still need Sasuke to hate him? Uchiha Itachi fell into deep thought. 1 against 7. Najiruko got up from the ground and rushed towards Uchiha Itachi again with a snarl. Uchiha Itachi kept his contemplative look while dealing with his dear brother, Najiruko. Sasuke, a Jinan, was too weak. Uchiha Itachi could manipulate Sasuke with just his body's subconscious reaction. On the side, Uchiha Fugaku, who was summoned by spirit, looked at the drama of the brothers' quarrel with a complicated expression, but did not move. The head of the Hyuga clan, Hyuga Hayashi, led a group of Hyuga clan members and surrounded Uchiha Itachi. They would not let the Uchiha clan only focus on Uchiha Itachi. Bang, bang, bang. Water escape, waterfall technique. In the air, Kisame had not landed yet. He had no chance to land, so he met Might Guy and Might Guy alone. Hoshigaki Kisame was very frustrated. How did he meet these two perverts? Exclamation mark. In a hurry, while being beaten, Hoshigaki Kisame spit out a lot of seawater from his mouth. This was not Kisame's counterattack. He just wanted to escape the fate of volleyball. The ninjutsu was performed, slightly stopping the actions of Might Guy and Might Guy, and Hoshigaki Kisame finally got a chance to catch his breath. Looking at the two people in front of him with powerful strength, Hoshigaki Kisame had a headache. He felt that he needed help. He needed the support of his companions. He hoped that his companions would have the spare energy to help him. He turned his head to look at the companion closest to him, Uchiha Itachi. Although Uchiha Itachi was surrounded by people from the Hyuga clan, the people from the Hyuga clan did not attack Itachi. At this time, Uchiha Itachi was just fighting Uchiha Sasuke alone. A Konoha Jinan. A young child. Even with such an opponent, Uchiha Itachi actually fought back and forth with him, and didn't get rid of Sasuke for a long time? Exclamation mark. Hoshigaki Kisame vomited blood. At this time, you still have the leisure to play? He really wanted to shout to the other members of the Akatsuki organization, I report that someone is playing a fake match here. Chapter 171. It's you. Hoshigaki Kisame felt that he was miserable. Why did he have to meet these two perverts, Might Guy and Might Guy? And there were also Kurenai and his daughter watching beside him. If Obito knew what Kisame was thinking, he would definitely be very dissatisfied. So what if Might Guy and Might Guy besieged him? He was attacked by the Cross-era Hokage, the first Hokage and the fourth Hokage, and he didn't even cry out in misery. But he had Kamui, so he didn't suffer any substantial damage, not to mention that he was beaten by Might Guy and Might Guy like playing volleyball or football. In general, Kisame was relatively miserable. But if you want to say who is the most miserable, Hoshigaki Kisame was far from the top. The most miserable person was Danzo Shimura. Amerji, Tsunade, Orochimaru, Hatake Sakumo, Kakashi, Uchiha Shisu and others were chasing Danzo. Except for those who were chasing the other members of the Akatsuki organization, everyone followed Amerji to the direction of Danzo Shimura. Run, keep running. Do you think you can run away? With a devilish smile on Shionyu's face, Danzo Shimura wilted. He had fought with Shionyu in the sealed book incident. Well, he couldn't beat him. Not to mention that there were Konoha White Fang and others behind Shionyu. Playing with snakes. Oh, wait, Orochimaru is the one playing with snakes, not him. Then he has nothing to play with. Danzo Shimura took a deep breath. Shionyu, we can discuss anything. Shionyu shook his head. I have nothing to discuss with you. Do you want to take off your clothes yourself, or let me help you? Danzo Shimura didn't say anything. Taking off his clothes. He had only one way to die. With a hissing sound, the blade in Shionyu's hand was raised, and the clothes were torn. Danzo quickly hugged half of his body, trying to hide. This scene. Well, excluding various factors, Tianyu is like a wicked man who flirts with a decent woman, and Danzo is the woman being flirted. He hugged himself with a complicated expression, not letting his body be exposed in front of everyone. Danzo's expression. It's amazing. He really has a Sharingan in his hand. He really transplanted the cells of the first Hokage. The secret hidden for many years was exposed, and Danzo's crime was also exposed. Shimura Danzo's eyes were fierce. Tianyu, do you really want to do it to the extreme? Wait until I escape, I will definitely make you look good. Tianyu sneered. Do you think you still have a way to live? After saying that, Tianyu stepped forward, and the blade of Hyorinru flashed, cutting off Shimura Danzo's head. In the case of the theft of the Book of Seals, Tianyu could easily crush him, Shimura Danzo, not to mention Tianyu who took out Hyorinru directly now. Danzo without help is simply vulnerable. Even Kakashi, who is 50-50 with Hatake, can't beat him. Shimura Danzo surrendered, blood was spilled, and the people following Tianyu sighed. Is it finally over? Before they could sort out their mood, they saw Shimura Danzo appear again. What's going on? Exclamation mark. This is the forbidden technique of the Uchiha clan, Izanagi. Tianyu explained, and stepped forward. The moment Shimura Danzo used Izanagi to revive, he hurried out. He wanted to escape in a panic. Shimura Danzo's open and dignified way of dying and resurrecting in front of everyone frightened everyone. Although Tianyu explained, in his eyes, Shimura Danzo's image became more evil. Resurrected from the dead. Danzo is a demon who signed a contract with the devil. Don't block me. There was another person in front of the rapidly fleeing Shimura Danzo. It was not Tianyu. Tianyu explained to everyone the reason why Danzo died and resurrected, which delayed some time, so naturally he would not rush to Shimura Danzo so quickly. The man who stood in front of Shimura Danzo had a dashing white braid. It was Konoha White Fang, Hatake Sakumo. As an excellent ninja, he took action the moment he saw Danzo come back to life. Shimura Danzo, I advise you to surrender. You are dreaming. Danzo replied with a grim face. As he ran, Danzo took out a kunai. He must escape, and anyone who stops him will die. So Hatake Sakumo also pulled out the short knife behind him. Clang, a white light filled everyone's vision, and everyone in Konoha White Fang finally knew the origin of Hatake Sakumo's name. When everyone's vision was clear, Shimura Danzo's figure appeared in another place, Izanagi. He was resurrected again. Seeing Danzo's actions, Tianyu couldn't help laughing. You are really worthy of you, Shimura Danzo. In the original work, during the 5-cage summit, you used a kunai to pierce Susanoo. Now, you actually want to use a kunai to compete with the White Fang of Konoha, Hatake Sakumo. And you want to kill Hatake Sakumo in his impure body? Exclamation mark. I guess Shimura Danzo was injured during World War II. Well, it should be a brain injury. Otherwise, who with a sound mind would do such a stupid thing? Tianyu silently complained in his heart. Seeing Danzo resurrected again, Hatake Sakumo raised his short sword, like a white wolf under the moonlight, and quickly attacked Danzo again. The shocking white light rose from Hatake Sakumo's forged sword again, and once again filled everyone's vision. They had already seen Hatake Sakumo's swordsmanship, and after a while, they watched Hatake Sakumo's swordsmanship again. They still couldn't help but be stunned. Hatake Sakumo's sword not only cut off Shimura Danzo's head, but also left a strong swordlight in the hearts of Konoha people. The swordlight that everyone can't forget. They finally knew how powerful Hatake Sakumo was. They knew the name of Konoha White Fang. They understood why other ninja villages issued orders during World War II that they could abandon their missions when they encountered Konoha White Fang. Hatake Kakashi was stunned. It was the first time he saw his father using all his strength on the battlefield. His father's swordsmanship, the swordsmanship of his Hatake clan, was so strong. In a short period of time, Konoha White Fang Hatake Sakumo had killed Shimura Danzo twice. When Danzo's figure appeared again and Hatake Sakumo raised the short sword in his hand again, Tianyu's voice reached his ears. Stop, stop, stop. Leave Danzo to me. Just help guard by the side and make sure Danzo has nowhere to escape. Tianyu spoke to stop Hatake Sakumo. Danzo must not die in Hatake Sakumo's hands, otherwise his one-hit kill, Murasame's blueprint will be ruined. I missed it before, it was a reward blueprint, Chapter 172 Water Volleyball. Hearing what Tengo said, Hatake Tsukumo nodded and retreated to the side to prevent Shimura Danzo from escaping. Although he didn't know Tengo, he knew that Tengo was the initiator of this major event and the one who overturned his case. Hatake Tsukumo would not refuse Tengo's request. What's more, he was a dead man, and the world of the living should be left to the living to deal with. In an instant, Hatake Tsukumo thought a lot, and all he could do was to assist. Konoha White Fang left the stage, and Tengo came on the stage. Shimura Danzo's face was full of panic. He wanted to escape, but he couldn't. It was so uncomfortable. Tengo couldn't beat him, Hatake Tsukumo was guarding one side, Orochimaru was guarding one side, and Tsunade was also guarding one side, completely blocking his escape route. Aizen's team used a Sharingan as a price to obtain 60 seconds of immortality. In other words, within 1 minute, no matter how many times Shimura Danzo died, only one Sharingan would be consumed. He has an armful of Sharingan. So, Danzo Shimura has not given up yet. He still has 5 or 6 minutes of immortality, and he still has hope of survival. Clang, bang. Facing Tengo, Danzo was defeated again and again. Tengo moved quickly and killed Danzo Shimura several times in a short period of time. Although he was consuming a Sharingan, Danzo still felt uncomfortable. He could still feel the experience of death and the pain of death again and again. Damn Tengo. After I escape, I will make you live a life worse than death. I will let you taste the torture worse than death. Danzo's figure appeared again. He was resurrected again and tried his best to flee in one direction. At this time, people from the Akatsuki organization, come closer to me. Such a voice came, and Danzo Shimura hurriedly looked in the direction where the voice came from. It was a Fae wearing a shit yellow mask. In the air, the space was twisting. A black vortex slowly appeared at the twisting point. Time went back to 2 minutes ago. First Hokage, please be careful. This guy's body is a phantom and cannot be attacked, but when he attacks us, his body will turn back into a physical entity, so that we can attack him. Oh? Space-time ninjutsu. Hearing Minato Namake's explanation, Hoshirama Senju's eyes sparkled. What an interesting ninjutsu. Then, he said to Uchiha Obito carelessly, Fake Madara, come and attack me, let me see how good your space-time ninjutsu is. Uchiha Obito. Does he dare? With such a convenient ninjutsu as Kamui, he was still beaten by the fourth Hokage Minato Namake's like a son. The first Hokage Hoshirama Senju who can easily suppress and seal the Nine Tails Uchiha Obito, doesn't dare. If Hoshirama Senju catches a gap, he will die. Exclamation mark. Uchiha Obito did not move, still keeping his body hidden in the different space. Even though the body here was a phantom, he looked at Senju Hoshirama and Namake's Minato with great vigilance. Who knows if these two Hokage have any tricks up their sleeves? Oh. Don't do it. If you don't do it, then I will. Seeing that Uchiha Obito was still hesitant, Senju Hoshirama made seals with his hands, and dozens of wooden hands emerged behind him. Ola 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 ola. Senju Hoshirama's fists, with the dozens of wooden hands behind him, smashed the phantom of Uchiha Obito crazily, even though none of the attacks hit. Such a convenient ninjutsu, I don't believe you can keep this state. Senju Hoshirama's words frightened Uchiha Obito. Can you detect the limit of his ability? Exclamation mark. His divine power is indeed limited, and he can only last for 5 minutes in this state. 5 minutes, let alone 5 minutes, even 1 minute. Uchiha Obito's Kamui is a very perverted and unbalanced ninjutsu. But, unfortunately, Uchiha Obito met the even more perverted Senju Hoshirama. In the 3 wars, Uchiha Obito was saved by Uchiha Madara, and was chosen by Madara as the key chess piece of the Munai plan. Uchiha Obito naturally heard a lot of things from Madara. This also includes Madara's old rival, Senju Hoshirama. This is a man who can beat Madara, a man who is open and a man with a ton of power. Uchiha Obito's Kamui will be broken after 5 minutes of continuous attack. 5 minutes of Senju Hoshirama's ton of power can support a sleepless attack for a whole day. Uchiha Obito was scared. Kamui is his signature ninjutsu, and it is also a bottoming ninjutsu. 5 minutes of continuous phantom time makes Uchiha Obito invincible in this ninja world. So Uchiha Obito dared to disguise himself as Uchiha Madara. Kamui is his trump card, and he didn't want to expose the alternate dimension connected by Kamui. But now, facing Hoshirama Senju who can attack continuously for a whole day, he has no choice. Akatsuki Organization, Plus he came with 4 people this time, surrounded by Konoha, they can't escape. Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame. Forget about these 2 people. If he didn't bring Konan back to Akatsuki safely, Pine would turn against him, the Uchiha Madara. Exclamation mark. Konan must be brought back. The alternate dimension is exposed. Anyway, it's difficult for them to reach the alternate dimension. Exclamation mark. With his attention, Uchiha Obito's Sharingan turned, he tried to connect to the space channel of the alternate dimension, and called to the people of Akatsuki. With an order, Uchiha Obito saw Danzo crawling towards him, and was killed several times by Tianyu on the way. Uchiha Obito's face darkened. How come this old man is still alive? He didn't want to take Danzo with him to escape. Boom, boom, boom. On the side, Jiraiya and a group of ninjas from the Konoha barrier class were frantically consuming their own chakra to strengthen the defensive barrier. In the barrier, the explosions continued. Konan and Senju Tobirama were having a great time playing with the detonating talisman. Even though Uchiha Obito shouted like this, Konan was still reluctant to compete with Senju Tobirama, who was the first Krypton Gold player in the ninja world. Obito's face darkened even more. Konan, don't fight, come quickly. He shouted. Save me. On the side, the miserable voice of Hoshigaki Kisame came. Uchiha Obito turned his head and looked. Hoshigaki Kisame was flying in the air. There were shallow puddles on the ground, those were the water drops left by his use of the waterfall technique. Might I and Might Guy jumped out of the puddle one after another. Well, at this moment, Hoshigaki Kisame has transformed from a volleyball into a water volleyball. Chapter 173 Dragon Shot Rack. Looking at the side, Uchiha Itachi was fighting with Uchiha Sasuke, not in a hurry, and had no intention of rushing to him. He was desperate and wanted to take them into the different space, but no one in the Akatsuki organization ran to him. The person he least wanted to save, Shimura Danzo, came rolling and crawling. Obito was completely mad. If you don't want to die here, come here quickly. Itachi, it's enough to stop. Konan didn't come here, and he couldn't explain to Pine, so Uchiha Obito naturally wouldn't escape. As for the Akatsuki people, well, they were all his employees, and he would save as many as he could. So, in the midst of the violent attack of Oshirama Senju, Uchiha Obito rushed towards Mighty Might Guy and his son. Well, not all people in the Akatsuki organization would fight and not retreat. Hitaka-same wanted to rush back, but he just couldn't. Uchiha Obito felt that he had to save Hoshigaki Kisame, an honest man who had to make hand seals before releasing ninjutsu while being beaten. Uchiha Obito moved, and Senju Hoshirama also moved. He had to keep attacking Uchiha Obito. Beside him, the space channel was slowly opening. Senju Hoshirama told Namake's Minato, don't get close to there. Space is unfathomable, and being involved in it may send you to hell. Space-time ninjutsu is profound and unfathomable. Not knowing what the whirlpool opened by the person who called himself Uchiha Madara is for, they dared not act rashly. Uchiha Obito, along with a dozen wooden hands, rushed to where Kisame was. In order to avoid accidental injury, Might I and Might Guy stopped and retreated. Kisame was finally freed from the fate of being treated as a volleyball. Before Kisame could thank Ifehi for his help, he was met with dozens of wooden hands that penetrated Ifehi's body and rushed towards him. Boom, boom, boom. Dozens of wooden hands punched at his flesh, and Kisame almost fainted. Kisame, with a bruised face, was very grateful that he could withstand the attack of the first Hokage, Senju Hoshirama. You know, this is a wooden hand that can pin the Nine Tails to the ground and make it unable to move. Uchiha Obito said in a deep voice, Kisame, hurry up. Fear appeared on Kisame's face after escaping the fate of volleyball. He said to Ifehi, you, don't come over. Stay away from me. Kisame didn't want to bear the heavy wooden fists of Senju Hoshirama anymore. I really don't know whether escaping the fate of volleyball is a blessing or a curse. Hoshigaki Kisame's face was full of sighs. In the future, Hoshigaki Kisame, can also brag like Kakuzu. Hoshigaki Kisame, has also fought with Hoshirama Senju, and survived after resisting Hoshirama Senju's attacks for more than 10 times. Hoshigaki Kisame and Ifehi kept a certain distance, and tested the edge of the wooden hand's attack, and rushed back to the whirlpool channel with Uchiha Obito. Might I and Might Guy did not rush over to attack Hoshigaki Kisame, because Kisame was at the edge of the attack range of the first-generation Hokage, and Kisame would be hit by a few punches from time to time. They didn't want to be beaten by the first-generation Hokage. Boom. A huge explosion sounded again, and the bright yellow defensive barrier maintained by Jiraiya collapsed. This barrier was originally built to resist the aftermath of the battle between Konoha and the second-generation Hokage. If Konoha deliberately attacked the barrier, it would be unstoppable. Hearing the hysterical shout of Afei, Xiaonan reluctantly looked back at Senju Tobirama. It was the first time she encountered such a refreshing battle of detonating talismans. Then she rushed to Afei. And Uchiha Itachi. He was still obsessed with Sasuke. He was still enjoying playing with Sasuke. Hearing Afei's shout, Itachi's hand movements became heavier. The truth was obvious. Did he still have a reason to make the second pillar hate him? At this moment, Uchiha Itachi had made up his mind. Konoha was about to be reborn, and the brand new Konoha was ushering in a new life, but there was no guarantee of what would happen to the new Konoha in the future. Uchiha Itachi felt that the second pillar could only be his own guarantee if he was strong. Well, he wanted to make the second pillar stronger. Let the hatred of himself become the driving force for the second pillar to grow. With a little force on his hands, Uchiha Itachi beat the second young master Sasuke's butt. But this was not enough. Uchiha Itachi looked up and winked at his majestic father. Itachi believed that his father would understand what he meant. Under Itachi's gaze, Uchiha Fugaku nodded. After that, Uchiha Itachi's Sharingan turned, and the three Magatama Sharingan turned into a Mangekyo Sharingan. He looked at Sasuke with a cold gaze. With his lips slightly opened, Uchiha Itachi finally said the words he had prepared for a long time, "My stupid Odoudao." The Sharingan turned, and Sasuke stared at the eyes, and he fell into a daze. "Itachi! What are you doing? Come here quickly." Before Konoha arrived, Uchiha Obito shouted at Uchiha Itachi impatiently. "Here I come. Come and help me." The person who answered was not Uchiha Itachi, but Shimura Danzo, who had finally arrived in front of him after rolling and crawling and being killed dozens of times. People in the Akatsuki organization. Itachi was obsessed with playing with the two pillars, Konoha was obsessed with fighting the detonating talisman with Tobirama Senju, his Shigeki Kisame passively became a volleyball, being played around by Might Guy and Might Guy. Only Shimura Danzo was really running for his life. Supported by Aizen's fist, he fled madly at the cost of dozens of deaths. Well, he ran the farthest, and he had to travel the longest distance to get back. Hearing the call of Afei, he set off immediately, but it still took him a lot of effort to get here. Obito's face was gloomy. Of course, he didn't need to care about Shimura Danzo's life or death. He didn't plan to take action. But Shimura Danzo pounced on Uchiha Obito like a vicious dog pounced on shit, not afraid of the wooden fist of the first generation that pierced through Obito and weighed more than 10,000 pounds. He had the Sharingan in Aizen's fist, and he would not give a damn. Uchiha Obito sighed. He looked at Shimura Danzo, who stuck to him, was beaten by the first Hokage, died again and again, and revived again and again. He felt a little disgusted. Danzo, who was exposed by Konoha, was like a chicken rib that was tasteless and a pity to throw away. Forget it, since you are here, just save him by the way. If you don't like him later, you can kill him. At the same time, Konoha and Uchiha Itachi also rushed over. First Hokage, please increase the strength and increase the attack range. Senju Hashirama, or you can reduce the range and let us deal with the others. Many Konoha ninjas spoke up. From the horizon, Tianyu held the high Orinmaru and stabbed at the Akatsuki organization and Shimura Danzo like a meteor. Ryutain. The cold ice surged from the tip of the knife. A large amount of solid ice wrapped up Danzo Shimura. Shianyu's sword seemed to have pierced through the space, and an ice hole was formed by the icy power overflowing from the space. Chapter 174 Shisu's Eyes. Shianyu suddenly broke into the field. Senju Hashirama was startled and quickly stopped his dozens of wooden hands. This young man was the initiator of this big show. Konoha's hope was on him. Senju Hashirama was afraid that he would hurt Shianyu if he was not careful. Shianyu was only seen on the field to blame Sarutobi Hiruzen, and rarely saw Shianyu take action. Senju Hashirama naturally didn't know Shianyu's strength. Senju Hashirama stopped his hand, and Shianyu didn't have to ask the first generation to stop. It's not that Senju Hashirama is not good, but the space ninjutsu of Kamui is too shameless. If Senju Hashirama was allowed to entangle, Uchiha Obito and others would definitely escape safely. Everyone, back off. Shianyu shouted. It's okay for the people of Akatsuki to escape, but Shimura Danzo must die. The dragon shot rack was activated, and Shimura Danzo was wrapped in a huge ice, but not long after, Shimura Danzo's figure revived again. Tisk. Tianyu smacked his lips. Iza's jutsu was also a very shameless one. Tianyu rushed forward, and Senju Hashirama stopped. Tianyu also asked everyone to retreat. The people of Akatsuki could show their skills. There were 4 people in Akatsuki, plus Danzo. Could they be killed in a 5-on-1 situation? Finally, it's finally time for me to show my strength. Hoshigaki Kisame excitedly pulled out Samehoda from behind. His hands were shaking. Konoha Trip Konan and the second generation of detonating talismans fought. Afeti and the first and fourth generations of Hokage were calm. Itachi was beating his brother. But he, Kisame, was being played with by Mai Tai and his son as a volleyball. Whether they were humans or ghosts, they were all showing off, but only he, Kisame, was being beaten unilaterally. The perverted Mai Tai and his son retreated, and Senju Hashirama stopped his heavy punches. There were only their people and Tianyu on the field. Kisame was finally able to show his strength well. He was not a volleyball, nor was he a punching bag. He is a powerful ninja with the name of Tailed Beast without a tail. He wants to prove to those Konoha ninjas who have seen him being beaten like a volleyball by Mai Tai and his son that he, Kisame, is a strong man. With an excited heart and trembling hands, Kisame rubbed his hands and walked towards Tianyu. But Tianyu, with ice blue wings of ice behind him, shouted quickly, "Open the gate, open. Rest gate, open. Life gate, open. Shang gate, open. Do gate, open. Jin gate, open." A huge amount of Chijinla poured out of Tianyu's body. Kisame's body trembled, and his excitement subsided. He stayed where he was, cursing in his heart, "Fuck." Then he walked back to the Akatsuki team silently. Well, it's not time for him to show his powerful strength of Tailed Beast without a tail. "Kisame, why are you retreating? Hurry up and do it." Uchiha Obito shouted dissatisfiedly. It was the first time that Obito led other living people to the different space. In order to ensure that Konan could evacuate here safely, he had to check the stability of the space channel, which would take some time. Kisame, who was criticized by Afeti, had no choice but to bite the bullet and stand up with Uchiha Itachi, Konan, and Danzo. "Temayu, you are too confident. Do you think you can 1v5? Shimura Danzo had a wicked smile on his face. This Tenai really didn't know what was good for him. He actually let the other people in Konoha retreat. He wanted revenge. The people in the Akatsuki organization were all talented, strong, and spoke well 5-1. Danzo didn't believe that Tenai could survive. Go. With a loud shout, Shimura Danzo took the lead and rushed to kill Tenai. He hadn't used up the 3 Magatama Sharingan on his body, so he wouldn't die. Hoshigaki Kisame followed reluctantly. Ice Dragon's tail. The Hyorinmu turned, and the handle with a little bit of ice blue drew a beautiful stream of light in the air. The solid ice pierced Danzo's chest, and Tianyu kept moving. Several kunai were thrown out, and Flying Thunder God was activated. Tianyu's figure appeared beside Hoshigaki Kisame, Konoha Whirlwind. Bang! Hoshigaki Kisame's body slid down rapidly like a kite with a broken string. Tianyu's figure disappeared again, and came to another kunai, facing Uchiha Itachi and Konan. The battle continued. The special Flying Thunder God's kunai flew in all directions, and Tianyu's figure appeared in several places in an instant, fighting back and forth. With the help of Flying Thunder God, Tianyu's speed reached a higher level. Uchiha Obito on the side was very lucky that he wanted to check the stability of the space channel, and lucky that he didn't do it. Tianyu is so fast, if Obito also made a move, he would be caught by Tianyu, like Namake's Minato, and he would be hit by the body. His body is not as resistant as Kisame's. And he, Obito, cannot make a fool of himself in front of everyone. Fortunately, he did not take action. This is what Uchiha Obito thought. Well, although Uchiha Obito did not take action, he was building a space channel and checking the stability of the space channel. Uchiha Obito can barely be considered an auxiliary. The scene is still 1v5. Danzo resurrected Kisame again and again, and he was so resistant. With Flying Thunder God, although Tianyu did not suffer any loss, his chakra was rapidly depleted. Outside the battlefield, hearing Tianyu's order, Uchiha Shisu, who was retreating, could not see, but could sense the situation on the field through chakra. Feeling Tianyu's rapidly depleted chakra, he clenched his fists tightly. Tianyu. This won't work. Shisu felt that he should do something. Ga. In this severe battlefield, a black crow flew across the sky. Normally, the surrounding animals would rely on instinct to avoid danger and would not appear nearby. Hearing the crow's cry, Uchiha Obito subconsciously looked up at the sky, and saw a Sharingan in the crow's eyes. This Sharingan is not simple, and the shape of its pupil is strange, like a shuriken. This is the Mangekyo Sharingan. Just when Uchiha Obito felt something was wrong, the Mangekyo Sharingan in the crow's pupil turned. Obito lost his mind. Shisu, don't waste Kido Matsukami on him. Hearing the crow's cry, Shianayu knew that it was Shisu who was taking action. Before the big show began, Shianayu found Uchiha Shisu and talked to him about his arrangements for the Chunin exam. Uchiha Shisu decided to give his Mangekyo Sharingan to Shianayu. He told Shianayu, if Sarutobi Hiruzen did not admit his guilt and resisted stubbornly, he would use Kido Matsukami to make Sarutobi Hiruzen face his sins and admit his mistakes. But Sarutobi Hiruzen committed suicide before using it. Now seeing that Amaji's chakra was rapidly depleting, Uchiha Shisu wanted to help Amaji, so he took the initiative to attack Uchiha Obito, who looked like the leader and was wearing a shit yellow spiral mask. Chapter 175, Ice Sky 100 Flowers Burial. Hearing Shianayu's voice, Shisu's movements froze, and the strongest illusion, Beelzebub, was almost released. Uchiha Obito's pupils suddenly shrank, and he turned his head to the side, no longer looking at the crow in the sky. Obito was full of fear, and the space channel quickly expanded. He couldn't wait to escape from here. Konoha without Sarutobi Hiruzen was too scary. Stopping Uchiha Shisu's movements, Shianayu's chakra around him suddenly exploded. Although he opened 6 gates, he was still young, and Shianayu couldn't do the chakra like Might Guy and Might Die. But Shianayu, he had a cheat. He took out a handful of chakra crystals from the storage ring and stuffed them into his mouth. It quickly consumed the chakra and filled it up again. Having forged countless chakra crystals and stored them in the storage ring, Shianayu naturally had no shortage of chakra. When Shisu and Uchiha Shisu used Kido Matsukami, Tianyu knew that an honest man like Uchiha Shisu would only plant the will of protecting Konoha in other people's minds when he used Kido Matsukami on others. This kind of will is really a waste. Moreover, maybe Obito thought that the Moon Eye project was for Konoha and was part of protecting Konoha. If so, wouldn't Kido Matsukami be wasted? Tianyu didn't want the strongest illusion to be wasted like this. Such a good thing must be used to its fullest. Well, maybe, in the future, I can use Kido Matsukami on Uchiha Madara? Swallowing a lot of chakra crystal stones, the explosive amount of chakra filled Tianyu's body, making Tianyu feel a little uncomfortable, as if he had eaten too much. In front of him, Uchiha Obito, who was frightened by Shisu's Mangekyo Sharingan, was in a panic and no longer considered whether the space channel was stable enough. Let's leave the life and death of Konan to fate. If he doesn't leave now, Uchiha Obito will be eaten by Konoha. Shianayu poured the chakra that was so abundant that he couldn't control it into Hai Orinmaru. Hai Orinmaru pointed directly at the sky, and Shianayu opened his lips slightly. Ice Sky 100 Flowers Burial. From the sky, the ice blue tone covered the sky, giving people a sense of coldness that could not be relieved. Snowflakes drifted down from the cold sky, crack, crack, crack. The snowflakes fell to the ground, blooming into ice flowers, which were so gorgeous, but so cold. A small snowflake, an ice flower. Very strange. Mass is not conserved at all. Uchiha Obito's face showed a trace of horror. Hurry, hurry up. He shouted loudly. Snowflakes fell, falling on Danzo, falling on Kisame, and falling on Uchiha Obito. Looking at the ice flowers on his body, Uchiha Obito only felt that his vitality was absorbed by the ice flowers. Ice Sky 100 Flowers Burial. This is Hai Orinmaru's ultimate move. When 100 ice flowers bloom on his body, that person will disappear. This is not the power of ice. To some extent, it is a demonstration of rules. This is Shianayu's ultimate move. Against the extremely shameless Kamui, this is the only move Shianayu can currently fight. Shianayu has been preparing to use this move for a long time, which is why Shianayu asked the Konoha ninjas to disperse. Facing the snowflakes all over the sky, the strange ice flowers, Uchiha Obito grabbed Shimura Danzo and blocked him in front of him to block the strange snowflakes that absorbed vitality. Uchiha Itachi and Konan are also trying their best to dodge the strange snowflakes, and Hoshigaki Kisame is also trying his best, but he was first attacked by Might Eye and his son, then hit by Senju Hashirama's heavy punches, and finally with Tianyu's fatal blow. He is already scarred and unable to do anything. Large pieces of ice flowers fell and bloomed on Kisame's body. Conan, hurry up, come in. At the same time, the space channel had been opened, and Conan, who was only stained with a few ice flowers, quickly stepped into it. Blood flowed from Uchiha Obito's eyes. It is rare to see the Sharingan bleed when using Kamui. Uchiha Obito immediately found the reason. Ice flowers. It must be caused by the strange ice flowers. Itachi, you hurry in too. Uchiha Itachi stepped into it, and Obito felt a pain in his eyes again, and a lot of blood flowed out like tears. Obito once again confirmed that the reason for his Sharingan bleeding was caused by the ice flowers. Uchiha Obito's eyes stung, and the space channel beside him was also slightly unstable, and it looked like it was about to collapse. Obito suddenly calmed down and threw Shimura Danzo out. Danzo could save him easily, so he didn't mind saving him. But countless ice flowers bloomed on Danzo's body. If Danzo stepped into the space channel, he would have to endure greater pain and a greater price. His Sharingan might even be crippled. Uchiha Obito was unwilling to do so. He looked at Tianyu gloomily. He remembered Tianyu. Then he turned his head and looked at Hoshigaki Kisame. Many ice flowers also bloomed on Kisame's body. So Uchiha Obito stepped into the space channel himself. With a whoosh, the vortex in the space disappeared. Uchiha Obito, Conan and Uchiha Itachi disappeared in front of everyone. The snowflakes were still falling from the cold sky. Shimura Danzo was desperate. You betrayed me. He kept muttering. There was another person who was more desperate than Danzo, Hoshigaki Kisame. It was okay for Shimura Danzo, who was not a member of the Akatsuki organization, to be abandoned, but how come Hoshigaki Kisame was also abandoned? Exclamation mark. Amidst the snowflakes, Tianyu stepped forward. Walking to the side of Hoshigaki Kisame, Tianyu Hyorinmaru lightly picked up and broke the ice flowers on Hoshigaki Kisame's body. Well, Hoshigaki Kisame can be kept for a while, and some information can be interrogated. And since he was abandoned by the Akatsuki organization, maybe he can be used. After making Hoshigaki Kisame's life temporarily safe, Tianyu slowly walked forward and looked at Shimura Danzo, who was unable to move because of too much ice on his body. Snowflakes were still swaying, and ice flowers were still blooming on Danzo's body. Seeing this, Tianyu smiled. You are dead today. No one can save you. I said it. Compared with Sarutobi Hiruzen, Tianyu wanted Shimura Danzo, who broke the bottom line and wanted to attack his family, to die. White mist filled the air, and the cold air swayed. Tianyu squatted in front of Shimura Danzo and counted, 88, 89. He was counting the number of ice flowers. At this time, Shimura Danzo was not dead yet. The Sharingan on his arms was closed. He was terrified and wanted to say something. His face was full of the will to live. However, his mouth was blocked by the ice flowers and he could not speak. Beside him, the boy was still counting the number of ice flowers on his body with interest. 95, 98, 99, 100. When the boy counted to 100, Shimura Danzo's body was completely covered by ice flowers, and his breath was completely cut off. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.